Strength? This is Konoha. I advise you to catch it with all your hands, Konohamaru said solemnly. The distance is so close, but he hasn't felt a trace of breath radiating from the opponent until now. This situation seems to have been seen by Quan Yu. Do you know why Chakra's progress is so fast? The person said lightly. Konohamaru was startled. The speed of his chakra progress is indeed a bit unusual. Although his age is when chakra is growing rapidly, it is also too fast. This is because I have injected my strength into you, so that your chakra will grow rapidly. And I can also give you the power to fight against the Sky Council, even Quan Yu, this person said unhurriedly. Shut up. I don't want to fight them at all, Konohamaru shouted. Oh, are you? You don't want to know how your grandfather died, and don't you want to find the corpse? Konohamaru was silent. He did want to return his grandfather's body, but even Master Tsunade didn't know about it. Quan Yu killed so many people in your family, you don't want to take revenge, and you were Konoha's heir, but all of this was lost because of Quan Yu's appearance. Don't say anything, no matter what you do to me, I won't help you, Konohamaru said firmly. It's a pity, but I can go to your two friends and see if they want them, the man said. What? Konohamaru's pupils tightened. What are you going to do? He shouted angrily. Don't worry, no one will come here. I just want you to get something for me. The man remained expressionless. Konohamaru was silent for a moment. He knew that the other party might have blocked everything here. Even if he fights, he won't attract anyone, and with his current strength, he may be killed in seconds. What do you want? Shanshu's sealed seed, I need one. It's impossible. This kind of thing will only be given to people who meet the standard. I just made a request. I'm fair. I only want to pay for my strength. As for how to do it, it's entirely your business, the man said. Konohamaru knew that if he disagreed, the other party would probably find them right away. With the strength of each other, Mengwang and they are not opponents at all. The opponent is threatening him, and his strength is also a problem. The opponent won't let him gain strength for no reason. Once it starts for the first time, it will never end. Don't think about telling the news. Even Quan Yu glanced at the ninja world and didn't find me. Do you think I will be caught? So obediently cooperate with me. I will let you gain stronger strength, provided that you help me. Do something, the man said. Konohamaru's face was cloudy and uncertain, and now he took a wrong step and was overwhelmed. How can I trust you? I don't need any strength, but I don't want my friend to be hurt, Konohamaru said with an ugly face. The opponent is too strong, and they have no ability to resist in front of him. Being able to approach him silently means that he may be killed by the opponent at any time. You have no choice. At the moment you are selected by me, you are no longer in control of you, and even your family may perish because of you. Cooperating with me against the Sky Council may also rejuvenate your family, but if not, I don't mind destroying Konoha. Even if I expose it, I don't care. The other party's words made Konohamaru sweat on his forehead, which is definitely a terrifying figure. Obviously he did not dare to face the Sky Council, proving that he was not sure yet, but the strength was definitely not comparable to ordinary people. I accept it, but I'm not sure whether the task will be completed or not, Konohamaru said with difficulty. Facing the threat from the other side, he could only accept it, and then he could not bear it. Very good, but I still hope you can do it seriously. My strength is definitely not weaker than Quan Yu, and I can give you more. This time it's just a test for you. After that, the person disappeared instantly. Up here. Konohamaru didn't even know how the other party disappeared. He slumped on the ground, he was sweating and his back was slimy, but he was not in the mood to pay attention to it. Given the opponent's strength, it is very likely that this mission is just a nomination, and the opponent probably doesn't care about immortality, or is just interested. But to get Shanshu seeds, it's not that simple. Even now, I haven't heard of any fairy magic seeds flowing out. On the contrary, on the black market, the price of Shanshu seeds is getting higher and higher. You can only take one step and see one step. The other party didn't even leave a contact information. Obviously he was very confident in himself, and he didn't even care that he would inform. And the consequences of this kind of whistleblowing were definitely something he didn't want to endure, and the other party had left power on him, and obviously it might have left behind some other things. It's just that he can't find out. Oh, I wanted to be safe, but now it doesn't seem to work anymore, Konohamaru gave a wry smile. Then he cleaned up and left here. When he left, the person before suddenly appeared in the position just now. The person didn't agree before. Maybe I've already exposed it, and the other party said that traveling the universe may just find a place to hide. Since you want me to show up, then it's up to you to see if you have this ability. Shanshu is indeed magical. Judging from the collected data, this is a path that even ordinary people can be powerful. However, it is too deep to find out. I would like to see what secrets are inside. After speaking, he disappeared here in an instant. Later, Konohamaru refused Mengwang's invitation to practice together. The reason is that his cultivation is about to be completed, and he wants to make a breakthrough during this period of time. After that, he kept practicing in hiding at home. Until he fully reached the standard of accepting fairy magic. Hey, it's the standard for accepting immortality so soon. Konohamaru, it seems you have a good talent. Tsunade looked at Konohamaru in surprise. He came this time to apply to leave the village and go to the Sky Council to obtain fairy magic. Where is it? I'm just lucky, Konohamaru said with a smile. It's not luck that can explain it. Regarding your family's problems, I will respond to the Sky Council. If you make some achievements in the future, Neji and the others will agree, Tsunade also said with a smile. She also saw Konohamaru's efforts, and Kuan Yu was also in anger at the time. After so long, the anger must have disappeared. There is no need to be too involved. Konohamaru is still pretty good, and the opportunity that should be given is still to be given. Thank you Tsunade-sama, I will work hard, Konohamaru said excitedly. But in fact, there was bitterness in his heart. Tsunade was also very happy. Chuan Yu, who had taken all the talents Konoha could take away, now she can't even find a person to take over as Hokage. Konohamaru is about to accept fairy magic, and after a few years of growing up, she will have the opportunity to retire. Although she feels that her condition is very good, Shanshu chakra also makes her body very energetic. But she was fed up with her daily work, and she wanted to quit for a long time. Konohamaru left the Hokage building and was ready to go home. But when I arrived at the door of my house, I found a group of people around. Konohamaru, Master Konohamaru is back. I don't know who noticed Konohamaru who came back, and the group immediately surrounded Konohamaru. Konohamaru was taken aback. These were all members of their clan. Master, I heard that you were going to the Sky Council to accept fairy magic, can you talk to Neji-sama? An old man said excitedly. But in the end, I couldn't say it. Konohamaru knew what he wanted to say, despite the endless bitterness in his heart. But there was still a smile on his face. I know, Tsunade-sama also said that he will help us. Don't worry. Really, Tsunade-sama is willing to help us too. Great. Tsunade-sama is Kuan Yu-sama's teacher. Our family, there is hope. The crowd suddenly became noisy. These are people who support him, and there are some clansmen who don't want to interact with him, because it is his grandfather who caused all this. There was expectation in their eyes, which made Konohamaru's eyes moist. If there is a chance, we will have a chance. The clansmen only knew that he was going to accept fairy magic, and he was going to become a big man, but they didn't know that all of this was arranged by others. After saying goodbye to the tribe, Konohamaru closed the door. The expression on his face instantly became indifferent. It's dead or alive, it's just this time. His eyes became firm. After a while. It's so boring, there are not a few people who come to accept the fairy magic. Why do they have to take turns on duty? Naruto barked his head with a helpless expression. Nine tails, this guy doesn't know where to go to play. The blogger was just born and he won't give me a holiday. Naruto was constantly complaining, he wanted to go back to see the baby now. A touch of eyeshadow appeared on the corner of his eyes. It was obvious that the practice of immortality had been completed, and the mark of the eyebrow shape was an orange diamond mark. Unlike other people who use the seeds of fairy magic, he obviously relies on the magic of his own master. Entered the second stage of Shanshu practice. I don't know that the strength has reached that level. Boom, boom, is anyone? I'm here to accept Shanshu. A knock on the door sounded. This shocked Naruto. Finally someone has come. Please come in, Naruto said happily. Then a figure opened the door and walked in. Naruto looked at the person's face and was taken aback. The people who came in were also taken aback when they saw Naruto's face. Naruto, Konohamaru, they spoke at the same time. Why you, how did you come? There was a moment of silence. Ahaha. Long time no see, Konohamaru, you were grown up, Naruto said with a big laugh. Yeah, you have matured a lot too. I'm sorry that you didn't catch up with your wedding before. I heard that you became a father recently. Konohamaru also said with a smile. Yes, that's right, I gave birth to a kid, then congratulations. Naruto stood up and walked slowly to Konohamaru's side. You don't know, that kid is annoying, and tortured me hard enough. By the way, Why would you come here to accept fairy magic? This is too fast, Naruto said, puzzled. Konohamaru panicked. Ah, I'm sorry, Konohamaru, your talent is so good, of course. Peace of mind practice is progressing fast. After the completion, we will visit my house as a guest. We haven't been together for a long time, Naruto said embarrassedly. He felt that what he said just now seemed to look down on Konohamaru. But in fact, people who can practice immortality are generally older. Only some special physiques can reach the standard at Konohamaru's age. Oh, okay, Konohamaru was taken aback. Before he thought of a good reason, Naruto explained it directly to him. This made him feel extremely guilty. Then come with me. There is a certain danger in accepting fairy magic, and I need my help, but I don't think Konohamaru is a problem for you. Naruto held Konohamaru's shoulder and led him to the side. After passing through a gate, a training room appeared in front of Konohamaru. And in the center of the training room is a pile of small black balls. This is Shanshu seed, don't you know? Naruto said puzzledly. Of course I know, Konohamaru certainly knows what the seed of celestial magic looks like. Just put such an important thing here. Aren't you afraid of someone stealing it? Konohamaru said suspiciously. Why steal this? If you meet the requirements, you can get it directly. We have no restrictions. If you don't meet the requirements, it will be dangerous if you accept it, Naruto explained. Konohamaru was a little dizzy, and such important things were placed here casually. It seemed that Naruto didn't know how many Naruto there were, and they just piled there randomly. However, before accepting Shanshu, it is more important to sign a contract. Naruto picked up a scroll from the seed of Shanshu. Konohamaru only noticed that there was still a scroll there. This is a contract. Some contents can be seen now, and some contents will only be seen after you sign it, but they are all things to defend the ninja world. There are no restrictions. Naruto smiled and handed the scroll to Konohamaru. Contract? Konohamaru was puzzled. After cultivating immortality, you are a strong man in the ninja world. Of course, you have to pay some responsibilities. You can see the content after injecting into chakra. Konohamaru infused chakra curiously, but a cold sweat appeared on his forehead in an instant. The Otsutsuki clan. Aren't you surprised? This is because of confidentiality, but don't worry. Kuan Yu said that they have not come so soon. Let us have a preparation, Naruto said with a smile. No, they are already here, Konohamaru thought shockingly, and he finally knew who the person who appeared suddenly was. Only these people will have the power to fight against Kuan Yu. What's the matter with you, Konohamaru? You don't need to worry about it. Kuan Yu and the others have a way. Besides, I'm stronger now, Naruto said with a grin. Isn't it? Konohamaru twitched at the corner of his mouth. Of course, hurry up and sign, and when it's finished, I can tell Hinata to prepare dinner, Naruto said with a smile. Konohamaru carefully recalled the contents of the contract, and there were not too many compulsory things on it. Otherwise, as soon as he signs it, it is estimated that he will violate the contract and die on the spot. This made him breathe a sigh of relief, and then he thought about it, then bit his finger and left his name on it. In an instant, a pair of Kanruo Shingtong's eyes opened. Sarutobi Konohamaru? Oh, that's interesting. It shouldn't be a provocation, is it something to express? With his physique, it is impossible to accept immortality so quickly. So that's it, some people can't wait, do you want to come and try? Then the eyes closed again. Naruto took a close look at Konohamaru's signature. This job should be taken seriously. Okay, no problem, let's drop blood on this. Naruto handed a small black ball casually. Konohamaru breathed a sigh of relief, but in fact he hoped that Naruto would find out, but he didn't want him to find out. It was a rather ambivalent mentality. Sorry, Naruto, I can only do this. Konohamaru began to practice after receiving the immortal surgery. Naruto guided on one side, but failed many times. Every time Naruto had to extract the natural energy from Konohamaru. Konohamaru, don't get too excited. Pay attention to control, Naruto said. This kind of control is difficult for Konohamaru's age, but it is quite rare to fail so many times. It can only be said that Konohamaru has just received fairy magic, a bit too excited, but he is still too young, which is normal. I see. Konohamaru exhaled. His mission goal is right in front of him, how can this calm his mind? But if you continue, you will be suspicious. So he was ready to practice first, and then see if there was any other chance to distract Naruto and obtain the seeds of fairy magic. Konohamaru's mind calmed down, and natural energy began to enter his body steadily. Naruto smiled and nodded. As expected, she was too excited just now. This time, depending on the situation, it shouldn't be a big problem. Gradually, Konohamaru's eyes began to appear in the corners of his eyes, and he has succeeded. I have begun to gradually adapt to this state, and as long as I don't mess around, there will be no problems. Konohamaru opened his eyes. Is this fairy magic? Konohamaru felt completely different. The body is more energetic, the control of chakra has been improved a lot, and the perception ability has become very powerful. Is it very refreshing, but you will have to work harder and enter Sage mode on your own before you have successfully practiced. Naruto said with a smile. Let's go. I'll take you to my house, Naruto continued. Oh, but I want to keep getting used to it. I don't think the master is very proficient. Konohamaru didn't want to leave here just like that, it would make him miss the opportunity. Who knows what will happen after his mission fails? He dare not gamble with his friends and people. Well, then I'll go back first. Let Hinata cook, and pick you up later. Anyway, I'll be off work soon. Naruto was stunned and said for a while. Konohamaru was taken aback. So easy. Well, I'll trouble you, Naruto. Konohamaru was also relieved, so it's okay. You're welcome, I'll be back soon. Naruto smiled. Then Naruto left here. After Naruto left, Konohamaru stared at the pile of fairy seeds in a daze. I'm sorry, Naruto. Konohamaru stood up, carefully removed a fairy seed, and then concealed it, making it impossible to see that one was missing. Then he opened his mouth and swallowed the seeds of Shanshu with difficulty. He has no way to guarantee that he will not be discovered, and can only be kept in his body. Cough cough. Cough cough. I don't know if it's right or wrong to do this, but I didn't have to choose. Konohamaru's eyes were sad. Later, Konohamaru was invited to Naruto's house. On the next day, Konohamaru was about to leave. He was afraid that he would be discovered after a long time. The chakra fluctuations distributed here tell him that there are countless strong people here, and his preservation method may not last long. Are you in such a hurry? I want to take you to the Sky City for fun, Naruto said regretfully. The people in the clan are still waiting for news, we must hurry back, and I will come to you next time, Konohamaru said with a smile. Well, be careful on the road, Naruto said, looking at Konohamaru. I will. Konohamaru smiled, and the sword on his back was instantly unsheathed. Konohamaru got up and jumped, and the flying sword rushed to his feet, leading him to fly away quickly. This flying sword was given to him by Naruto, the latest product of the Sky Council. He's gone, a voice rang behind Naruto. Yes, what are you going to do? Naruto didn't look back, but looked in the direction where Konohamaru had left. The enemy is not simple, but Konohamaru is so clever that he reminds us in such a subtle way. Kuan Yu came to Naruto's side. He has always been smart, and this time he should have been intimidated by someone, Naruto said. Don't worry, I will find the one who calculated us. Kuan Yu smiled. Hope. I just hope that Konohamaru won't have any trouble. Naruto's gaze became a little serious. Yes, if the seal of Shanshu is broken, it will directly hurt his soul, even resurrecting, Kuan Yu said lightly. Why didn't he tell us directly, so that the other party wouldn't dare to make a rash move, Naruto said. There are many ways to threaten him. People can't live just for themselves. You say yes, Naruto. Kuan Yu turned to look at Naruto. There was a cry of baby, and Naruto couldn't help but look back at his house. Okay, I won't disturb you anymore. Kuan Yu smiled and disappeared here. A smile appeared on Naruto's face. What a noisy kid. Naruto slowly walked towards his home with a smile on his face. Konohamaru was galloping in the sky, his eyes were blank, watching the white clouds that kept flying past him, he didn't know where to go. In the end, he returned to Konoha, then locked himself up, saying that he wanted to get acquainted with Shanshu. Let the people who came here want to see a bit of regret. However, Konohamaru first acquired fairy skills, and some of them could understand if they were not used to it. It can be said that he is a talented person who has learned the magic at such an age. The people of the Sarutobi clan seem to see the hope of regaining their clan name. Konohamaru stayed in his home for many days, but he didn't wait for the other party to find him. But just when he was about to go out, bang! Konohamaru instantly turned into smoke and disappeared here. Konohamaru appeared blankly in a forest. My lord is done, a voice sounded. Only then did he see the two people standing in front of him. The one who came to him before. One was a middle-aged man with a serious face, but there was no sign of shinobu. Summoning technique. You actually left a summoning rune on me, Konohamaru said angrily. It may be more than that. The other party has definitely done a lot of hands and feet on him. Good job, take things out. The other party didn't show any expression. He didn't care about Konohamaru's anger at all. Are you from the Otsutsuki clan? Konohamaru stared at the man and said. The other party showed a rare expression of surprise. You go down first, he said to the middle-aged man next to him. Yes, the middle-aged man disappeared here in an instant. Yes, but your every move is under my observation. How do you know? He asked curiously. I can't tell you this, or I will die, Konohamaru said lightly. At the same time, he was also very shocked that he was being watched all the time. Even Naruto didn't find it. Oh, it looks like it's the contract relationship. It's quite a set. Stop talking nonsense. Take things out. I don't want to say it a second time, the person said. Okay, I'll give it to you. Konohamaru jerked his stomach. A small black ball was spit out by him. The small black ball quickly flew out and suspended in front of the opponent. Is this the seed of the fairy technique? The seal technique formed by the yin and yang escape, he said in surprise. Drop blood. You can get immortality. My task has been completed. I hope you will not take action against my friends and people. It is none of their business, Konohamaru said with his head down. Of course, I'm not interested in taking action against the ants, the man said lightly, looking at the small black ball in front of him. Konohamaru clenched his fists. But do you think you can go back? Once the Sky Council finds out, you will only have a dead end. This has nothing to do with you. I won't help you anymore, Konohamaru said coldly. Hee. Can you escape? The other party looked at Konohamaru. Konohamaru's eyes narrowed. Jung, the long sword behind him, was instantly unsheathed. Sage art, fire style, ash accumulation. Konohamaru's hand seal was completed in an instant, and then he stepped back. A large cloud of gray smoke was sprayed out by him. The vegetation that was exposed to these gray mists instantly scorched, and it was obvious that this gray mist had a powerful burning ability. At the same time, it can block the line of sight. It seems that you still chose to fight against me. Shanshu can definitely hurt you. Learning that it has greatly increased my strength. Anyway, it's all a death, and I will make you pay the price. Konohamaru's voice came from the gray fog. All reminders are reminded. If there are other ways, Konohamaru will not choose this. Maybe only death can resolve his mistakes. He doesn't want to be like his grandfather, doing whatever he can for power. I don't want them to be implicated again. Buzzing. 100 sword technique, countless breaking air sounded, as if countless sharp blades were flying in the gray fog. Mortal weapons want to hurt me too? Ding ding ding. A fierce metal collision sounded. This made Konohamaru frown, and there was no sound of a sharp blade. He didn't hit the opponent at all. Lightning strike. Konohamaru didn't hesitate, and directly activated the rune on the flying sword, and a large amount of thunder and lightning appeared instantly. The opponent should have avoided his own attack in a certain way, so he directly chose the range coverage to force the opponent out. You are not my opponent at all, a voice appeared behind Konohamaru. Let Konohamaru's hair blow up. But he just wanted to fight back, only to find that his body could no longer move. The gray mist slowly dissipated, and hundreds of swords were being inserted there in a mess, and the surrounding areas turned into scorched black. Then immediately it turned into smoke and disappeared. The peculiar weapon is the flying sword produced by the Sky Council. With these, I want to fight against the Otsutsuki clan. As soon as this person waved his hand, the flying sword flew into his hand. The long sword was shocked. That's it, I actually used my clone to do this step, but in my eyes it's just rubbish. Clang. The long sword snapped instantly. He was thrown to the ground. The expression on Konohamaru's face was very ugly. This was a gift from Naruto, and it was so ruined. It's a pity that he can't do anything at all. The chakra in his body is restricted. Can't even speak. This should be the hands and feet the other party made on him, otherwise it would be impossible to control him silently. Don't worry, I will let you gain stronger power. He put his hand on Konohamaru's shoulder. Then a space door opened in an instant, and the two disappeared here. In a stone building, a space Uzumaki appeared, and the two people who had disappeared appeared here. Master Sishen, when the few people here saw the sudden appearance of Sishion, they saluted. There are a lot of large-scale equipment here, what seems to be researching. Take this person and take care of it. And this, I need a detailed research report. Sishion threw a small black ball. A person on the other side hurriedly used it. This is the seed of Shanshu, the man said in surprise. I need to see the research results as soon as possible. After saying this, Si Xian left here. This base is underground, and it is also his hiding place. Basically, it is difficult to be discovered, and the person who got the seed of fairy magic was looking at the little black ball in his hand with excitement. This is the legendary fairy technique, never left out. Take him down. I will start researching immediately, the man ordered. Yes, one person immediately carried Konohamaru, who was stiff and completely unable to move, and left here. Then the small black ball was put into a container. This kind of instrument took turns in battle, but it was useless. Without destroying this small black ball, it is difficult to know what is in it. The external structure is composed of yin and yang, it is very difficult to destroy, let alone fine operation. Time slowly passed, but he was still clueless. How is it? Si Xian didn't know when he came here. We have not yet been able to analyze the degree of yin and yang escape, and we simply cannot understand the structure of it. He wanted to experiment with the effects of the fairy magic seed, but if he still couldn't crack it after using it, it would definitely not end well. It's too cautious, let me do it, Si Xian said. As soon as he waved, the black ball flew into his hand. Then his eyes flashed. The shanshu seeds immediately radiated light, and the yin and yang escaped. Runes floated out of it and suspended in the air. Why are you still stunned? Give me a note, the man shouted directly to the researcher next to him. The surrounding researchers just woke up, found the tool and started recording. As the runes continued to float out, a large seal array was revealed. Wrap Si Xian in it, and the shanshu seed in his hand emits green light and floats. Come to the center of the rune circle. Is it clear? Si Xian said lightly. It feels that the function of these runes is to transmit and store chakra. Although it is fine, you can't see the connection with the magic at all. Perhaps the most important thing is here, but it seems to be protected. The man pointed to the green core and said. Si Xian's eyes narrowed. But even he couldn't see the internal structure. Interesting. Want to stop me? I want to see what's in it. Si Xian sneered. He knew very clearly that the secret of shanshu was in it, but shanshu was open to everyone. But it is still hidden so deep that I want to come to Kuan Yu because I don't want to be known by some people. And these people are probably the Otsutsuki family including him. What is so peculiar about shanshu? Why is Kuan Yu so afraid that they know it, and even protect it with a contract? Si Xian thought of a possibility, and that was natural energy. This kind of magic is probably related to the technology of transforming natural energy. It used to be Kuan Yu who was the master, but now he should have discovered the secret, so he began to teach immortal arts to make humans stronger. But he didn't dare to plant the seeds of the fairy technique rashly, no one knew if there were any restrictions. The record has been completed, only the core part is left. Let me take a look, and pay attention to the record, Si Xian said lightly. The pure chakra at the core is slowly being pulled out by Si Xian. The color became lighter and lighter, unexpectedly began to show some rune marks. Come out, start recording, although he couldn't activate the runes to reveal them. But he can slowly withdraw the chakra from it, making this core weak. The runes will be revealed. Of course, this is likely to cause a certain amount of damage, and this fairy seed can no longer be used. But it doesn't matter, he only needs to know the key part of it. Even if you don't get it completely, you can also arrest other people who have cultivated into immortal arts and study them slowly. Just be careful, the other party will not be able to find out where they are. Some runes began to appear broken. Obviously this is Kuan Yu's defensive method. Once the rune collapses, it may cause a complete collapse. In the end, the core rune burst into green fragments and disappeared. The surrounding rune formations also lost support and slowly disappeared into the air. The fairy seed disappeared completely. How much to record? Si Xian asked. It was only a part, and many of the others disappeared without showing up, and many of these runes have not been seen, the person asked said. Don't worry, there are a lot of people who have practiced immortal arts. The previous person was. After the rune was analyzed, he began to study. Huh? Si Xian frowned and looked to the side. If you want to know how to practice celestial arts, you can ask me. I don't restrict anyone to practice celestial arts. The black space door opened, and Kuan Yu slowly walked out of it. Kuan Yu. The person next to Si Xian said in horror. As the first person in the ninja world, no one does not know what Kuan Yu looks like. Many people used him as a confession. How did you find this place? I didn't find any marks on Konohamaru, and you probably didn't know that he was controlled by me, Si Xian said lightly. As if he didn't put Kuan Yu in his eyes. Kuan Yu smiled, The space door behind him was not closed, and two figures walked out of the space door immediately. The space door is now closed. The people who came were Naruto and Sasuke. A few years later, Sasuke's appearance has also become mature, but his eyes are still sharp. No, of course I know there is a problem. The name Konohamaru left on the contract is the key. Sarutobi Konohamaru, it's a good name, Kuan Yu laughed. Although I don't know your position because of this, I'll blame you for coveting my celestial arts. If you don't destroy it, I can't find you. And I can't blatantly locate the celestial seeds. You found it, Kuan Yu continued. It turns out that you have already made hands and feet inside. Once it is destroyed, you can instantly know it. It is impossible to know the secret of Shanshu without destroying the seeds of Shanshu. It is easy to calculate, Shion said. Stop talking nonsense. What about Konohamaru? Naruto frowned. What's the hurry? I saw him. Now it is more interesting to appreciate this dead mouse, Kuan Yu said uncomfortably. You say yes. Otsutsuki one style, Kuan Yu looked at Shion interestingly. You think you can beat me easily? I'm no ordinary Otsutsuki, Shion said lightly. Kuan Yu's specific strength is not clear, but it is definitely not weak. This is the reason why he has not done anything. Do you think you are qualified to be my opponent? This time your opponent is them. Kuan Yu stepped back slightly, and Naruto and Sasuke stepped forward. I wanted to see the strength of the Otsutsuki clan for a long time, so let me try it today. Sasuke's eyes were filled with excitement. There is also a purple diamond mark on his forehead. Hey, I'm bored in the Sky Council. Jungjo has no opponents, Naruto also excitedly said. Then his body was wrapped in an orange chakra in an instant. Hee, Kuan Yu, you are too arrogant. Just because the two of them are not my opponents, Shion said with a sneer. Bluffing. I admit that your strength is not weak, but you have lost half of your original will. How much strength can you exert? Moreover, your body can withstand how long you can exert such strength. I'm going to save Konohamaru. Here is yours, Mr. Yishi. You'd better not run away, otherwise, you just wait to be besieged. Kuan Yu disappeared here in an instant. Sishen, or Otsutsuki, has a very ugly expression. This is the first time he has been threatened in this way. But now is not the time to consider this, the two in front of them are already eager to try. He can't stay here anymore. He must leave, and Kuan Yu's threat was not taken seriously by him. There were spatial fluctuations around Shion. Mr. Yishi seems to be a bit disobedient. Kuan Yu reappeared near Yishi again in an instant. Shocked, too fast. He came back so soon? What are you doing in a daze? Come on, Kuan Yu looked at Naruto and the others. Oh, the two of them came back to their senses. Sasuke and Naruto rushed out instantly. He looked like he was about to be attacked by the two, but he disappeared instantly. Naruto and the others rushed for nothing. This made them both stiff. The scope of the attack, he has shrunk, Kuan Yu prompted aside. Naruto and Sasuke's eyes met. Naruto hit the ground directly with his backhand, and went up to the sky. Chidori stream, in an instant, a large amount of black thunder and lightning appeared on Sasuke's hand, covering an area around him. This kind of thunder and lightning is a combination of the yin and thunder attributes. Only because of Sasuke's powerful yin, it appears black. Although it was a bit worse than Kuan Yu's black thunder, it was not too powerful. Sage of Six Paths gave him the shady attribute that has been compressed to ultimate, and Sasuke hasn't used it much. Now it's perfect to deal with one style. Obviously, Yi Shi is not so easily attacked. A form of figure instantly appeared behind Sasuke, and then a black mark appeared on his hand. Sasuke's black thunder quickly rushed into the one-type mark. Sage Art, Big Ball Rasengan. Naruto didn't know when he was ready for ninjutsu, and from top to bottom, Rasengan attacked with his head facing the style. Once again disappeared, Naruto's Rasengan slammed to the ground. The smoke immediately spread, and you don't need to think to know that Naruto's attack missed. Come again, Sasuke drank. A large number of black thunder and lightning surged again, and the opponent's ability was too strange. Had it not been for Kuan Yu's reminder, it would have been impossible for them to know that the other party had shrunk so quickly. But in an instant, a few black rods pierced Naruto and Sasuke's bodies. Sasuke and Naruto were taken aback. The chakra inside was confused. And Yishi reappeared again, and a black rod appeared in his hand, which directly pierced Sasuke's head. But in an instant, Sasuke's Rinnegan was shocked. His and Sasuke's positions instantly changed, turning their backs to each other. Rinnegan's ability, it seems that it is not so easy to solve you, jumped away. And Naruto and Sasuke are also pulling out the black sticks stuck in their bodies. Seriously, the other party is not that simple, Kuan Yu said leisurely beside him. Sasuke and Naruto looked at each other. They stretched out their hands at the same time, and the pheasant sword in Sasuke's hand slowly emerged from his arm, with thunder shining on it. And what appeared in Naruto's hand was a sword, and the orange chakra instantly covered it. Judging from the other party's act of absorbing chakra just now, ninjutsu may be of little use to him. Thousand sword technique. Naruto waved his sword, and suddenly a large number of long swords continuously emerged from the long sword in his hand, shooting in one direction. But the grass pheasant sword in Sasuke's hand was thunderous, and the whole sword was emitting thunder. Obviously, he was ready to find the right one and almost kill. As soon as the opposite hand stretched out, a black long stick appeared in his hand. The long stick danced continuously, and Naruto's sword clone was hit, and it flew into smoke instantly. Naruto does not have a perfect master yin and yang escape, these swords are just clones, and the strength is not high. But this is too much, and there is not much space here. Although one type of physical skills is very strong, it is also quite difficult to deal with. Seeing the sword clones seemed endless, his eyes condensed. A lot of marks began to appear on his face, and a weird corner appeared on his head. There is also a mark on it. Is this forced to use this? Kuan Yu was surprised. Drink, the surrounding space was shocked. The sword avatar shot by Naruto was instantly detonated and turned into smoke. Opportunity. Sasuke's eyes flashed. The pheasant sword in his hand flew out instantly with electric light. As soon as Yi Shi ran out of power, Sasuke found his flaw and shot it. He only had time to hide from his side. The blade cut his sleeve instantly, leaving a wound on his arm. Just when Yi Shi thought he had escaped, his back was cold. It turned out that at some point, Sasuke appeared behind him instantly, and his hand was still a grass pheasant sword with thunder. And a grass pheasant sword was shot directly on the ground where he was just now. It turns out that Sasuke exchanged positions with the pheasant sword shot through Rinnegan. And that pheasant sword was just a sword that he separated out with yin and yang, and what he was holding was the body of the pheasant sword. Puff, the pheasant sword was poured directly into Yi Shi's body. The violent thunder light burst instantly. After a while, Sasuke withdrew the pheasant sword, and the charred body fell to the ground. Solved, Sasuke said lightly. It's so easy to solve. Naruto was puzzled. Of course it's not so easy, the power is too weak, this is not the main body, Kuan Yu frowned. He didn't find the key thing, 10 tails, and it was too weak, so weak that Naruto and Sasuke had solved it before they could even use their strength. He was still wondering why 10 tails was not here before, but now it seems that the other party has changed bodies a long time ago. But it's still useful. Kuan Yu waved his hand and received Si Xian's body into the space. Even if it is not the body, there is a certain original will in it, and he would not be so cheap to the other party. Then he released Konohamaru. Konohamaru's eyes were blank when he came out, his body still stiff. A light flashed in Kuan Yu's eyes. His hand turned purple and directly inserted into Konohamaru's body. Then immediately retracted, a black sphere appeared in Kuan Yu's hands. Then it was crushed by Kuan Yu. Konohamaru was also taken aback by Kuan Yu's actions, thinking that Kuan Yu was going to kill himself. But he found that there was nothing wrong with him, but his body was able to move. Can't you find his body? Sasuke walked to Kuan Yu's side and said. He deliberately hides it, but it's not so easy to find, Kuan Yu said, shaking his head. Master Kuan Yu, Konohamaru saluted. Good job, Kuan Yu smiled at Konohamaru. Konohamaru smiled awkwardly, knowing that the clue he had left on purpose was discovered by Kuan Yu. Since you wrote down Sarutobi's name again, then give it back to you, Kuan Yu said. It's so stingy. Konohamaru has credit for what you say, so just give it a name. Naruto walked over and put his arm around Konohamaru's shoulder to Kuan Yu and said with a smile. No, enough. This is already the best, and I also made a mistake and stole the seeds of fairy magic, Konohamaru said hurriedly. Why do you care so much? This was originally put there to seduce the enemy, Naruto said with a grin. Let's go. The other party has changed their bodies. It should take a long time to get used to it, so I don't dare to come out. Let's go back and have Konohamaru's body checked by the way, Kuan Yu said. Although he pulled out the will to escape from Konohamaru's body, there are still some marks and the like. But at the cellular level, he still couldn't find out, and the reason for Konohamaru chakra's growth so fast has not been found. This is obviously the other party's transformation on Konohamaru. What about here? Naruto looked around. Destroy it, keep it meaningless. A black sphere appeared in Quan Yu's hand, which instantly turned invisible and was thrown out by him. Then Quan Yu opened the space door and left here with a few people. Quan Yu didn't care about this failure. He was only half-handicapped Otsutsuki, and he could only do a little bit of action. Even if you spend your energy looking for it, you may not be able to find it. Quan Yu after they left. There was a violent vibration in an instant. This underground space was immediately destroyed, and then collapsed. Everything is smoothed out. Konohamaru looked curiously at the black passage around. There was still light not far in front. And they are walking there. When they went out, they saw a vast space. There are a lot of plants and trees here, but they are very different from those in the ninja world. These vegetations appear to be very tall. And the concentration of natural energy is much higher than that of shinobi. He also saw some giant toads walking around here, and there was a palace group in the distance. Quan Yu flew to the palace with a few people. Then he fell in a palace. Master Quan Yu is visiting. What's the matter? Orochimaru appeared here as soon as they landed. Orochimaru had a smile on his face. None of them were hidden, and Orochimaru could of course find them. Orochimaru's forehead has no imprints of immortality, he has completed sage mode through his own practice. Then he borrowed the white snake he made to help him maintain sage mode all the time. But this method is a transformation of the human body, and only Orochimaru likes to do it. He said that snakes have lower mental fluctuations and are easier to cultivate into immortal arts. Through this method of implanting white snakes, it will also make it easier for people to master immortality. But Quan Yu didn't allow this. He wanted to create immortals, not monsters. It doesn't matter what Orochimaru does, but it is absolutely not allowed to spread. This made Orochimaru regret for a long time. Help Konohamaru check his body. I want to know the reason why his chakra progressed so fast, Quan Yu said. Orochimaru looked at Konohamaru. It turns out that at this age, without sage body, being able to reach the standard of cultivating immortal arts is indeed somewhat abnormal. Konohamaru was also a little worried. If there was any problem with the power the other party gave him, it would be troublesome. I have checked Konohamaru's body. Other aspects are not big problems, but chakra's problem has not been clarified. It should be a cell problem, Quan Yu explained. I see, come with me, Orochimaru said to Konohamaru. Konohamaru was dumbfounded. Naruto patted Konohamaru on the shoulder. No problem, we can solve any problems, Naruto said with a smile. Yeah. Konohamaru nodded firmly, and it was useless to be afraid. Then Konohamaru left with Orochimaru. Quan Yu brought Naruto and Sasuke to the largest palace in the center of the palace complex. This is the fairyland created by Quan Yu and the others. They integrated the space of the three holy places into the ancestor space of Kagaya, and after some transformation, they formed the current appearance. The shells of the Tensigan and 10 tails of the moon are placed here, and the natural energy transformed from the 10 tails in the ninja world is also injected into this space. Let the flora and fauna here become more prosperous. Quan Yu took Sasuke and Naruto to a hall in the center. Kagaya and the others are already waiting here. See after Quan Yu came back. How? I didn't catch it. Kaguya's voice revealed a hint of eagerness. Obviously she was a little uneasy about the existence of Yishi. Quan Yu threw Si Xian's body out. It's just a clone. The other party is very wary of us, Quan Yu said. Kagaya frowned when she looked at the corpse on the ground, but she didn't expect the other party to escape. Quan Yu told her this news recently. Although she didn't take it seriously at first, Quan Yu had been preparing for it all the time, but she didn't expect to catch it. At the beginning I obviously let 10 tails swallow him, and 10 tails also has the ability to grow. How did he escape? Kagaya said. It's the kind of ability he used. He may shrink a part of his body and then escape without you paying attention, Quan Yu said. It was normal that Kagaya hadn't reached the peak of his strength at the time. Moreover, the opponent was attacked by Kagaya, and his strength was greatly damaged. Only in this way can the golden silkworm shed its shell. Don't let Kagaya doubt it. If you say that, he should have paid half of his body, Kagaya nodded and said. Their current body has been integrated into the original will. Losing half of their body is equal to losing half of the original will. And it may be more than that, even the soul of the other party has been hit hard. Their souls did not disappear, but merged with the original will into a special form. That's why the other party has been lurking for so long. One is that his body does not allow him to use too much power, and the other is that he also needs a lot of time to repair the wounds of his soul. This body should have been prepared by him for a long time, and it can basically display all his abilities. I didn't expect that he would just abandon it like this. Kuan Yu shook his head and said. It's hard for an average person's body to bear the strength of the Otsutsuki clan, even half of it can't work. He should have found a more suitable body, but there is no such person in the ninja world except us, and he should also need to adapt very much. It will take a long time to fully realize the strength, Kagaya said. Her expression was a bit solemn, and she was not so easy to deal with. If the other party hadn't expected her to betray at the beginning, she would have never had a chance to injure him severely. Sit down and talk. I really want to know about Yishi, Kuan Yu said. Kagaya nodded. She didn't need to hide anything. Before, she just felt that Yishi was dead, so she didn't need to say anything at all. Now that the one style reappears, there are some things that should be said. After everyone took their seats. In fact, Otsutsuki is a genius of the Otsutsuki family. He not only possesses powerful abilities, but also possesses superhuman physical skills. It is difficult for other Otsutsuki families to surpass him in these two aspects. Among us, probably only Kuan Yu is sure to defeat him in his heyday. His strength should never be underestimated. Kagaya said quietly. It's not too difficult to deal with either, Naruto said, touching his head. What do you think? This clone may only exert 1/10 of his abilities, and the stronger he is, the higher the level of performance, Kuan Yu said with a glance at Naruto. And I'm talking about his heyday with only half of his body. Kuan Yu continued to attack Naruto. From the amount of original will, you can see how much strength the opponent has exerted. So strong. Naruto said in surprise. Kuan Yu is right, he is rare in the Otsutsuki clan, but after losing half of his body, his soul was also severely damaged, and it is not so easy to recover, Kagaya said. The key is that we can't find him, which is troublesome, Kuan Yu said helplessly. Not only that, the 10 tails he brought back then disappeared. If he finds a chance, he can quickly regain his strength, Kagaya said. What? Isn't there only 10 tails? Sasuke said in surprise. There is only one who told you that there are so many 10 tails on the planet of Otsutsuki. Kagaya glanced at Sasuke and said. Forehead. Don't scare them, there shouldn't be many 10 tails that can grow to this way, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Yes, the resources of this planet are too abundant, so 10 tails can grow to this level, Kagaya nodded and said. Kuan Yu nodded. What the Otsutsuki clan lacks is not chakra. Chakra 10 tails can absorb all kinds of energy, but the original will need soul. The souls of people in the ninja world are the most similar to the Otsutsuki clan, and they are the best resources. What resource? Naruto said puzzledly. Why didn't he know what resources the shinobi world had? Human soul, Kuan Yu said. Soul, a flash of surprise flashed in Naruto's eyes. It's almost time to tell them that after so long, they should also improve their strength, Kuan Yu looked at Kagaya. Kagaya nodded. In the human soul, there will always be a weak original will, and 10 tails can crush the soul, extract the original will from it, and gather it together to form the chakra fruit, Kuan Yu explained. You mean, we need to use these original wills to improve our strength? No, I definitely don't agree with this approach. Naruto said in shock. It's not all like this, Shanshu can also slowly cultivate its own original will, but it's too slow, we don't have so much time, Kuan Yu said. Naruto, this is nothing we can do. What we are facing is the threat of Otsutsuki's family. We must increase our strength as soon as possible, otherwise the entire ninja world will be destroyed, Yui said. You can't even help Kuan Yu? Naruto looked at Kuan Yu blankly. Kuan Yu shook his head. No matter how strong I am, there is only one person. Even if the other Otsutsuki can't kill me, there is no problem holding me back. What will ninja do then? Those souls have been preserved by Yuya-sama for a long time. If he doesn't collect them, these souls will slowly dissipate, and we only deal with souls from 100 years ago. As long as people who die in the future do not make any mistakes, we will also arrange for reincarnation. So, Naruto, you don't need to care too much, Kuan Yu said. Naruto lowered his head. He knew that Kuan Yu had tried his best. But to face the strength of the Otsutsuki family, they must increase their strength as soon as possible. People are dead as ashes. They have been dead for more than 100 years, so what's the point of staying? Sasuke said lightly. He is not as sentimental as Naruto. But this is the soul, we destroy them, they will no longer exist, Naruto said. Even if the reincarnation is arranged, they will destroy their souls, leaving only the original will to reincarnate, and there is hardly any mark of his original. It's impossible for us to bring them all back to life. You say how much meaning they have to exist. You have to understand that this is just an expectation for later generations, making them feel that there is still an afterlife. In fact, after rebirth, it has nothing to do with the previous life. Unless he is successful in celestial arts, he may save some memories. Kuan Yu knew that Naruto couldn't reach the level in his heart, so he had to speak out to persuade him. And he himself is too, that's why there is a saying about reincarnation. In the end Naruto accepted it. Even if they don't choose to swallow them, these souls will only slowly dissipate, or sleep forever. On the contrary, they lost their power against the Otsutsuki family. However, it takes a certain amount of preparation time to devour the original will, and the bodies of Sasuke and Naruto still need to undergo certain transformations. Only in this way can we fully bear the powerful chakra brought by the original will. However, Naruto said that he did not want to accept the transformation, so Kuan Yu could only let him practice in the gravity space. He has a sage body himself, so he doesn't need to be remodeled anymore. But Sasuke can't do it. Without sage body, he has to undergo transformation if he wants to quickly accept the original will. However, the fusion of a part of 10 tails does not have a big impact on his genes. Besides, his child was born, and there is no concern in this regard. The result came out, Orochimaru came to Kuan Yu's residence. What's the situation? Kuan Yu asked. It has something to do with you, Orochimaru said with a smile. Huh. Kuan Yu was startled. He has your cells in his body, and it's modified. It looks like the batch I made before, Orochimaru continued. He was not embarrassed at all, almost all the cells that flowed out were made by him. Kuan Yu was very clear. You mean that Konohamaru's chakra grows because of my cells? Kuan Yu said in surprise. Yes, although I don't know how he got it, Orochimaru said. Kuan Yu was lost in thought. Orochimaru had created many experimental subjects with his genes before, but they were destroyed according to Kuan Yu's request. He didn't expect Yishi to steal his cells from Orochimaru, and how did he think of using his cells to strengthen Konohamaru? Could it be? Kuan Yu thought of a possibility. Abandoned his Shion body, and his own cells appeared strangely on Konohamaru. Did he use Kuan Yu's cells to recreate a body for himself? If anyone in the ninja world has the strongest body, it is undoubtedly Kuan Yu. His body is definitely the best container. But Kuan Yu's body is impossible to obtain, so Yishi stole Kuan Yu's cells from Orochimaru. The more Kuan Yu thinks, the more likely it is. This left him speechless for a while, and after Orochimaru, his cells had been obtained by many people. The sacrifice of impure world reincarnation also uses his clone. It is simply another first generation. But it doesn't work anymore. Kuan Yu's current cells are simply no one can afford it. Is there a way to deal with it? Kuan Yu asked. Maybe there is no way, the combination time is too long, the treatment will only kill him, Orochimaru said. Forget it. You tell Konohamaru the truth. If you don't want to, I can help him change his body, Kuan Yu said. Although implanting his cells is the easiest way to become stronger, it is not desirable. Konohamaru was able to accept his cells because of the suppression of his will. Now that he has cultivated into an immortal technique, it will not cause the backlash of the cells. Shanshu chakra stabilizes cells that are not too strong. This is left to Konohamaru to choose. Finally, there is the question of Form 1. Although Form 1 is to obtain his clone as a container, and the soul may also be repaired because of Shion. But his body still needs a certain amount of time to exercise in order to give full play to his strength. This time is not short. Even if he finishes it, how can he be Kuan Yu's opponent with only half of his original will? Even in a complete state, it is not very useful in front of Kuan Yu. After the lesson this time, he should not dare to take any more casual moves. After Orochimaru left, it's time to try that. Kagaya didn't tell me about it. Didn't you know? I am still afraid that my strength is too strong. Woman, just be careful. Kuan Yu disappeared in the same place in an instant, and he entered his own space. In his space, there is a group of pure purple chakras suspended there. Kuan Yu glanced at this group of chakra, then his eyes flashed. This group of chakra slowly began to change. In the end it became a humanoid state. One style of Otsutsuki. I have nothing to say when it falls into my hands, Kuan Yu said with a smile. It turns out that in this chakra, the original will of the one-type clone is preserved. Kuan Yu did not hand it over to Kagaya, and the ability to purify the original will is not unique to Ten Tails. Kuan Yu can do it with the help of space, but he wouldn't say it. Kagaya is so careful, knowing that his 10 tails has no advantage in front of Kuan Yu, and he doesn't know what to do. Although he can also forcibly swallow the original will, relying on the original will in his body to forcibly obliterate it. Even part of the memory can be obtained, but he is not interested in the memory of one type, and it is impossible to find his current position anyway. Nothing to say, Izumi, I admit that I am not your opponent now, but you can't fight the Otsutsuki clan. Kagaya just wants to pull you into the water, he said lightly. Of course I know, but I do. She has her ideas, I have my ideas, at least now we are on the same front, Kuan Yu smiled. Kagaya just wanted to break away from the control of Otsutsuki's family. Although a little careful, it didn't hurt. It is impossible for Kuan Yu to bow to the Otsutsuki family. I know what you care about is the ninja world. I can let you control it, but you have to kill Kagaya, join the Otsutsuki clan, and with your ability, you will soon be able to occupy a high position in the family, said one. It seemed that he wanted to win over Kuan Yu. You know, I have a contract with Kagaya, it is impossible to do this, and I don't trust you, a family with only destruction in their hearts, and my ideals are very different, Kuan Yu said disdainfully. Hey, then there's nothing to say, you guys are ready to meet the destruction. One kind of knowing that it is impossible for him to win over Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu looks down on the Otsutsuki family from the bottom of his heart. Don't worry, I definitely let them come back and forth, but what I am curious about is why you don't go back. Afraid of shame, or you don't even have the ability to open the ultra-long distance space for transmission, Kuan Yu smiled. It's just that his smile is malicious. You, angrily. However, with your lower limit, I should not be able to go back, so I can rest assured. I tell you clearly, as long as you dare to show up, no matter where I am, I will appear for the first time and destroy you. The terrifying pressure suddenly swept through the body. The chakra that constitutes his body is constantly fluctuating. The one-type master's information is a big trouble. Without him, even if Otsutsuki's own family does it, it is impossible to swarm them. Only in this way can Kuan Yu have more time, and even to delay time, it is not impossible to join the Otsutsuki family. Next, Ninja World will be under my surveillance, you better hide it from me all the time, Kuan Yu restrained his momentum. Yi Shi wanted to say something, but Kuan Yu directly waved his hand and wiped out his will. Only the pure original will was left, and then Kuan Yu absorbed it into his eyes. Kuan Yu, who had absorbed the original will, closed his eyes. After a while, his eyes opened suddenly, and the blue 10-star eyes appeared, emitting a burst of blue light. A blue star appeared beside Kuan Yu's cross star. The control of space has been strengthened a bit, Kuan Yu muttered to himself. In an instant the blue star disappeared. That's right, Kuan Yu can still absorb the original will, and the blue 10-star eye can evolve. The 4-star blue 10-star eye on his forehead was opened because Kuan Yu completely integrated the original will into his body, and was opened by the influence of the blue 10-star eye. This gave Kuan Yu the ability to open the door of space, and also have a certain degree of control over the space. But Kagaya did not tell Kuan Yu that their eyes could evolve. What Kuan Yu wants is an absolute master of space. Their master's spatial ability is not strong enough, even Kuan Yu can't hurt others with his spatial ability. The low-level Obito can do it, even Kuan Yu doesn't dare to resist that kind of damage. Obviously this is a different type of space master. That's right. Kuan Yu wanted to form a terrifying attack by directly splitting the space. But he really has no direction for the ability of space, which is different from yin and yang and 5 elements, it is another level of power. It can be seen from Sasuke that his Guyu Rinnegan can give him a certain degree of master spatial ability. And Rinnegan, the Jade of 9 Guashes, can even open the space door and travel through the space as he pleases. It's just that Sasuke's ability to use space is more clever, but in essence it is not as good as Rinnegan. What Kuan Yu had to do was to purify both of his eyes to the limit, and then rely on the power of 3 4-star blue and 10-star eyes to completely control the space. But after all, the original will in his eyes does not have the support of the soul, and he may be like Sasuke, who can only use the abilities in it temporarily, not forever. But this is enough for Kuan Yu. He suspected that someone in Otsutsuki's home also mastered this power. This is the same level of power as his ultimate attack power of the yin and yang 5 elements, which can directly destroy the space. However, Kuan Yu was not in a hurry for success, as there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. There is no need to improve now. The current model of getting along with Kagaya is very good, and it is not enough to break this relationship. That would be boring. A smile appeared on Kuan Yu's face. Then he left the space. He still had something to deal with. Damn, in an underground space, a young man was clutching his head and grunting. Looking at his appearance, he was actually exactly the same as Kuan Yu. This should be a new body. It seems that losing part of the original will makes him a little unbearable. This caused him to devour the soul that had been repaired by Si Xian's soul, and suffered a certain amount of damage again. Originally, he just wanted to test Sha Kuanyu, and by the way, figure out the secret of Shanshu. Unexpectedly, he was discovered the first time, which caused him a bit heavy loss. His body began to prepare when Kuan Yu began to show its abilities. To this end, he infiltrated Orochimaru's research base and took away some of the cells. At that time, he did not have the ability to seize Kuan Yu's body, and Kaguya's two sons were hidden in the ninja world. Kuan Yu will definitely receive attention, so he started from other aspects. It was also that he was careful enough to transfer the original will, and then he escaped. And now he just barely allowed this body to bear his own original will. It was completely impossible to do it, and he couldn't be Kuan Yu's opponent. Otsutsuki's ability to carve the wedge was originally meant to fully encroach on the souls of others and gain their abilities. The clone is not so troublesome, there is no soul in it. But this newborn body, even though it is quite good, can hardly adapt to his current strength, and it needs a certain degree of tempering. And Kuan Yu's words also cast a haze on his heart. He knew that he might have to hide in the ground in the future. Once he shows up, it will usher in Kuan Yu's pursuit. If you want me to just give up like this, it's impossible. Said in a word and finally was silent. However, the information must be sent back, and now we have to wait for the other Otsutsuki to come to the ninja world. But it was impossible for Kuan Yu to let him contact them. Maybe they would be discovered by Kuan Yu as soon as they came to the ninja world. And the end is definitely not good. Kuan Yu came out of the space door. Kuan Yu, you are here. Neji, who was practicing, noticed the coming Kuan Yu. Well, there is something you need to do, Kuan Yu said. You said. Neji stopped practicing and came to Kuan Yu. To mobilize the power of various countries and clean up all kinds of lawless forces. When I was not there, they were a bit arrogant, Kuan Yu said. This is also a comprehensive suppression of the forces, and the forces on the bright side have to be considered a little bit, and they dare not move at will. As for the forces in the dark, Kuan Yu decided to clean up the wave first, regardless of whether it was useful or not. Otherwise, the Sky Council that hasn't moved for a long time will be considered a bully. I see. Neji nodded, and he didn't ask Kuan Yu why. Also, I will accept the original will in a while. You should prepare, but there should be no problem with your cultivation progress, Kuan Yu smiled. Are Naruto and Sasuke ready? Neji said in surprise. Not yet. Sasuke is accepting the power of 10 tails, and Naruto wants to practice on his own. After he adapts to the gravity of the gravitational space, it should not be much different, Kuan Yu said. In fact, as long as he can bear it, his physical strength only determines how much chakra he can mobilize. Naruto itself has a sage body. After accepting the original will, the strength of the body will gradually increase. He is unwilling to take the path of integrating 10 tails, and Kuan Yu does not insist on it. It's not bad to be the most orthodox immortal, there will be time for him to practice in the future. The big deal is okay with Kuan Yu practicing physique. I just don't know if he can master the spatial ability after fusing the original will with himself. If it can't be a master, the limitations are great. Naruto doesn't have any special eyes, and it may be the first case where the original will has been merged in this way. What's the situation? Maybe even Kagaya doesn't know. There may be no change, or it may activate the gene from Kagaya and turn on the 9-Go Jade Rinnegan, but the hope is not great. But these are not important, the most important thing is whether Naruto can gain space ability. It's useless to think about it now, let's see the situation later. Also, please inform in advance that the sacred tree may undergo a growth period, and there will be some changes at that time. The nearby local personnel and buildings will have to be relocated, so that others will not be nervous, Kuan Yu said. The 10 tails will soon devour the soul, and the volume of 10 tails will expand again. In order to reduce unnecessary trouble, it can only be explained in advance. Fortunately, there is still some time to prepare. I see. Neji knew the special nature of the sacred tree, and knew why it was so he didn't say anything. As a special chakra polymer, 10 tails is a special kind of cell. Similar to trees, but also like human cells. Since it is a special life formed by the combination of the flesh of the Otsutsuki clan and the sacred tree, it can be perfectly combined with the flesh of the Otsutsuki clan. That's why Kagaya is 10 tails and 10 tails is Kagaya. She herself has been combined with 10 tails. That's why she can be able to give Hamura and Heigi flesh. And the body she bestows is almost the most complete sage body. It also contains the attributes of yin and yang and the 5 elements. Of course, only Naruto Sasuke, Hakata Hamura, would let Kagaya do this. If Neji is allowed to accept 10 tails transformation, Kagaya will most likely not agree. Sasuke's body was wrapped under the trunk of the sacred tree, and only one face was exposed. How long will it take? Kuan Yu looked at Kagaya. It's done right away. Sasuke's body blends well, Kagaya said. Where are Hakata-sama and Hamura-sama? It's done, Teru Yoruichi waved. The sacred tree split. 2 people were slowly sent out by the roots, it was Hai and Hamura. They are not fusion, but directly recreate the body, not much time is consumed. And after they merge a part of 10 tails, they can also mobilize part of 10 tails chakra with Kaguya's permission. Similar to Tensigan, as long as they are not too far apart. Yuya still saw a pair of Rinnegan, and there was no change. And Hamura is a pair of Byakugan, and part of the Sharingan gene in his body has not been activated. But now he has a physical body, and he doesn't know if he can use the giant Tensigan to activate Tensigan. The purity of Byakugan represents whether it can evolve Tensigan. In fact, it is the amount of Byakugan that can accommodate the original will, and only pure Byakugan can accommodate enough to evolve the original will of Tensigan. However, Kuan Yu was puzzled a little. There should be a lot of Sharingan among the descendants of the Otsutsuki clan, but the only person who evolved Rinnegan is his family. The branch house is basically Byakugan. You must know that even Rinnegan does not require much original will to evolve. I have a question to ask. Why don't your branch houses have special eyes? This shouldn't be difficult for you. Kuan Yu chose to ask directly. Branch house is not allowed to have special eyes, especially Rinnegan. Rinnegan is the most suitable eye for controlling 10 tails. Branch house cannot evolve. This is my own way of controlling branch house, Kagaya said lightly. That's it. Kuan Yu suddenly realized. The branch house is just a tool for the family, and it is impossible for their master to have too much power. Mother Lord, Yui and Hamura came to Kagaya. Kagaya nodded, but she looked at them with gentle eyes. Master Hamura, can your eyes evolve Tensigan? Kuan Yu asked. Of course, I just need to use the giant Tensigan to change the nature of my Byakugan, Hamura said with a smile. It is too easy for the Otsutsuki clan to gain power. As long as they have the original will, their power will increase rapidly. However, they found too few life planets, and it was very difficult to obtain enough original will. The universe is recorded in millions of light years. Even if they have the ability to transmit in space, they can reach infinity in an instant. But it's not enough to see the universe. Once chakra was consumed, they had no hope of going back. So they usually carry small 10 tails on them, so they will plant them when they meet the right planet. Absorb energy and provide them with chakra. If you collect enough, you will move on. Then, until a suitable planet is found, people in the branch house will be asked to sacrifice and activate 10 tails. This will take a long time, and you won't find it if you are unlucky. Make them have to return. According to Kagaya, it is quite far away from the planet of the Otsutsuki clan. There are also small 10 tails along the way to provide chakra for Otsutsuki. By the way, after Naruto's body merges into the original will, can he also master the spatial ability? Kuan Yu asked. Naruto doesn't have special eyes, which is really hard to say. Yes, it's just that I don't have special eyes. I also went to Otsutsuki's home in this way. After integrating the original will, I will automatically have a certain ability to control the space, but I don't have other special abilities. It is still possible to open the space door. Hamura said. Kuan Yu then remembered that Hamura had been to the planet of Otsutsuki's home. Moreover, he himself had merged his original will to the limit, which was different from Yuya. However, he finally gave up his body for a long time. Perhaps it was also because of Yuya. Yuya's body was rotten, and he was unwilling to live alone. Then the two prepared Tensigan, and the other collected souls, just to fight against the Otsutsuki family that might appear in the future. But obviously they hope that special characters will appear in the younger generation. Especially the 2 children of Yuya, that's why they will continue to reincarnate. However, in the original work, they only appeared once after Kagaya was released from the seal. For a long time, they have seen too many changes. The appearance of Naruto and Sasuke allowed them to pin their hopes on them. Maybe they won't reappear when there are no major problems. But now the freak Quan Yu has appeared, and his existence has been revealed by a single word. Otherwise they will continue to hide, until the ninja world appeared in irreversible danger again. But Quan Yu is too strong. He almost calmed the ninja world with his own power, and also met their expectations, otherwise they could only continue to wait. In this way, I'm relieved. Without the limitation of space capacity, it would be too great, Quan Yu said with a smile. It is true that we are always disadvantaged when facing the Otsutsuki family, but the family is already asking why we haven't turned in the chakra fruit yet, Hamura said. He still keeps in touch with Otsutsuki's family. They don't care who is in charge of the ninja world, but the regular chakra fruit must be handed in. He is already procrastinating, but it may have aroused the suspicion of the Otsutsuki family. Don't pay attention to them, they are willing to send someone to give us the original will. I don't mind at all, Quan Yu sneered. Hamura also nodded. The first wave of Otsutsuki will not be too strong. It is normal for Quan Yu to ignore it, waiting for them to be taught. It is to see how they choose, whether to attack on a large scale, or choose to be patient. And on his own side, it depends on the accumulation of strength to various degrees, to choose whether to accept or counterattack. It's done, Kagaya said aside. Sure enough, Sasuke's body had been sent out by the roots. After falling to the ground, he opened his eyes. There is still only one Rinnegan in his eyes. This is just a physical modification and does not increase him much. If you want to evolve another Rinnegan, you need to integrate the original will. However, behind Sasuke, there were two, one by one, and Truth-Seeking Ball constantly appeared from behind him. Obviously, with the help of Ten Tails Chakra, he also has the ability to use Truth-Seeking Ball. Good strength. My body has also become much stronger. When will my original will begin to merge? Sasuke clenched his fist and said. They are all fathers, and they are still so impatient, and we have to wait for Naruto to finish her physical training, and then we will be together, Quan Yu said. HMPH, I'm not as naive as him. The power still needs the master to be in his own hands. Sasuke snorted coldly. This is a personal choice. Let your master's powerful power in advance be just to deal with the crisis, don't be fooled by the power, Quan Yu said helplessly. The rapid increase in strength still changed Sasuke's mentality. On the contrary, Quan Yu felt that Naruto was more able to control himself. This may be because he was Jinchuriki since he was a child. Power is power, there will be no confusion. Sasuke has a wicked smile on his face. Oh, isn't it? It seems that I must teach you a lesson, Quan Yu said, rubbing his chin. Sasuke's mentality is a bit abnormal. Why do you want to teach me? I know it's not your opponent. I still have this self-knowledge. I won't fight you, Sasuke said disdainfully. He still doesn't want to find abuse. It's a bit sensible, but your opponent is not me, Quan Yu smiled. In order to make you recognize yourself, I help you find a good opponent. Quan Yu waved his hand and opened a space door. After a while, Neji walked out of the space door with doubts. Only Quan Yu came to him in this way. He waited there for a while, but Quan Yu didn't come out. Then he walked directly into the space door. Neji. Well, I've long wondered why you chose him to be the speaker of the Sky Council. Sasuke sneered on his face. Oh, is that right? Well, Neji will teach Sasuke a little bit to make him recognize himself, Quan Yu said lightly. It's been so long, and it's so second. Maybe the person he met was either too strong or too weak, and there were few people who could compare with him. Naruto used to accompany him to do things, but after Naruto got married, he didn't care about Sasuke. After integrating the Ten Tails organization this time, his emotions may have also been affected by Ten Tails and broke out completely. Neji was taken aback. It's not necessary, they are all partners, what's the comparison, he said. Are you scared? Neji, Sasuke sneered. Look, this is not what I asked for, he wants to abuse him himself. Alright, Neji looked at Sasuke's provocative eyes, hesitated, and agreed. It was obvious that Quan Yu was going to teach Sasuke a lesson. Quan Yu smiled and opened the space door directly. Go in, Sasuke sneered, and walked directly into the space door. Neji shook his head and walked in. That's why we don't want to increase their strength too much. It's too easy to get lost, but it will bring more damage to the ninja world, Yui said. But Izumi is suppressed, it's okay. Izumi, Naruto, and Neji have good self-control. Hamura smiled. Thanks to the award. Let's go take a look. I chose a good space, Kuan Yu's mouth raised. Hamura and Hai glanced at each other, and they knew that Sasuke might be out of luck. Then they entered together the unclosed space door. And the other side. As soon as Sasuke got out of space, he felt a strong gravitational force that shocked him all over. And Neji walked past him blankly. Hey! Why did Neji and Sasuke come? Are they also here to practice? Naruto's voice came. Naruto was squatting on the ground sweating profusely, looking at the two people who came in surprise. No. I'm here to compete with Sasuke, Neji smiled. Competition? Here. Can this be played? I'm tired of walking a few steps, Naruto said suspiciously. Damn Kuan Yu, he actually cheated me again, Sasuke said with an ugly face. The gravity here had already affected him, but Neji didn't seem to feel it. He knew that he had been cheated by Kuan Yu. Why, just this little gravity can't stand it, Kuan Yu's voice came from behind Sasuke. As soon as he came out, he waved out a few truth-seeking balls, and then turned into seats behind Kagaya and Hakata Hamura. They are also unable to move under this kind of gravity. This has nothing to do with the strength of the body, it is mainly a matter of strength. Kagaya directly sat down, preparing to enjoy the battle. Also see how much Neji has improved. As this one point? There is no way to fight like this, Sasuke turned to look at Kuan Yu and said. The enemy doesn't think about where you are fighting. Didn't you see Neji? Kuan Yu said with a smile. Sasuke looked at Neji and found that he didn't even change his breathing. Forget it. Master Kagaya, give us another space. Otherwise some people will lose before they fight, Kuan Yu said helplessly. He just wants to hit Sasuke in a comprehensive way. Kagaya nodded, and then the 9-Go Jade Rinnegan on her head shook. What else does Sasuke want to say? But the space around him changes instantly. These spaces are made by Kagaya himself and have the greatest degree of spatial control. Then they appeared in a world of ice and snow. Wow, it's so relaxing, Naruto said in surprise. We still have to send you back later, waiting for your cultivation to be completed. Okay, let's get started. Kuan Yu sat down, and a chair appeared automatically behind him. Humph, Sasuke snorted coldly. He knew that it was useless to reason with Kuan Yu. Then he quickly moved away. Obviously he understood that with Neji's performance just now, he knew that his physique was probably not an opponent. Not so arrogant to the point of incurable, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Sasuke's combat thinking is pretty good, Ha Yi also smiled. Neji also slowly flew to the side. Because of the connection between Tenseigan and Ten Tails' body, the space here can also get in touch with the giant Tenseigan. And Sasuke can also use the power of 10 Tails. Naruto touched his head and walked to Kuan Yu and the others. He didn't know why Sasuke would compete with Neji. Kuan Yu looked at the two people floating in the air. Start, in an instant, Neji rushed to Sasuke, since it was Kuan Yu's request, of course he had to do his best. The truth-seeking ball behind Sasuke also proves that his strength has also improved a lot. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Although he knew Neji's physical skills should be very strong, he still wanted to try how big the gap was. So he rushed towards Neji without hesitation. Yes, just praise him, he is irrational again, Kuan Yu said helplessly. Sasuke is really too competitive, knowing it's not as good, so I still want to give it a try. In an instant, the two ran into each other. As soon as he touched, Sasuke felt the powerful force from his hand, and instantly he was knocked back. And he hadn't gotten too far before he was overtaken by Neji, and a whistling kick swept over him with a whistling sound. Bang! Sasuke was instantly knocked into the air, and then hit the ice on the ground, splashing a large amount of ice mist. It's amazing, it knocked Sasuke away in one blow, Naruto said in surprise. It's just basic operation, Kuan Yu smiled. After several years of hard training, Neji has mastered the bloodline of the earth attribute. The body has basically returned to its original peak state. With the addition of Tenseigan's bonus, Kuan Yu was not surprised at all to be able to display such strength. He probably has the level of Kuan Yu's 6th level activation. Even if the 8 inner gates is not turned on, his strength should not be underestimated. What's more, Neji also superimposed gravity on that blow. Of course this cannot be concealed from Kuan Yu. Neji succeeded with a single blow, and without hesitation, rushed to the spot where Sasuke fell. Obviously he didn't want to give Sasuke a chance. But in an instant, a knife shot out from the ice mist. Then Neji dodged sideways, and his Tenseigan's line of sight was not affected by the ice mist. But soon Sasuke's figure appeared behind Neji. He used Rinnegan's power to switch his body in the pheasant sword. Just as Sasuke was about to kick Neji, Neji's body stopped abruptly, then turned around and swept again. The two people's feet bumped together. It goes without saying that Sasuke was shot into the sky. With Neji's vision and body control ability, it is basically impossible to sneak attack on him. Damn it. Sasuke felt a pain in his feet. The difference between his physical skills and Neji's is very obvious. If you want to defeat Neji in physical skills, you can only rely on speed. But it doesn't fit in the sky. Just as Sasuke was thinking about it, Neji had already appeared in front of Sasuke. A palm that seemed to be light and fluttering pressed against Sasuke's chest. Sasuke's pupils shrank and he found chakra hidden in Neji's hands. It was absolutely uncomfortable to be hit by this blow. This is Gentle Fist. Just when Neji's hand was about to touch Sasuke, Neji's hand was empty. It made him lose his balance in an instant, and then he received a severe blow on his back. He was smashed to the ground in an instant. It turns out that Sasuke once again used his abilities and exchanged positions with Neji. But Neji, who was shot down, quickly regained his balance and slowly fell to the ground. Sasuke also floated down, and his hand stretched out. The pheasant sword flew quickly and fell into Sasuke's hand. "You are strong," Sasuke looked at Neji on the opposite side and said. "You are not weak," Neji smiled. "Next, I'm going to be serious." Sasuke's eyes narrowed. The thunder-attributed chakra flashed on the pheasant sword and spread towards his body. This is a technique similar to the lightning-style armor, which fully activates the muscles of Sasuke's body, but the level of stimulation is definitely stronger than that of fourth Raikage. His current body can fully accept the stimulation of such thunder attribute chakra. Sasuke's figure disappeared instantaneously, sparking a flash of lightning. Neji's eyes were also slightly solemn. Then he reached out his hand and assumed the pose of Gentle Fist. Then his hand hit Sasuke's hand. When Neji took the shot, Sasuke's body appeared. Sasuke's hand holding the pheasant sword was blocked by Neji. The Tensigan in Neji's eyes flashed blue. The ice under their feet burst instantly. The electric light on the surface of Sasuke's body gleamed slightly. Neji's hands could not help but numb. Sasuke seized this opportunity in an instant, and hit Neji's chest with an inverted elbow with his other hand. Neji was staggered. Obviously, Sasuke used the activation of the thunder attribute to make up the physical skill gap with Neji. The pheasant sword in Sasuke's hand also swung again, forcing Neji to retreat in embarrassment. "Student, open," Neji was shocked, and the invisible chakra burst open, forcing Sasuke to retreat. He directly opened the third gate, the life gate. That's right. Even the master's chakra broke out so easily, and even chakra didn't leak out much, Quan Yu exclaimed. Neji's body disappeared instantly. Sasuke was not to be outdone, and his body disappeared instantly. The figures of the two confronting each other constantly flashed in this ice and snow space. Green afterimages, flickering thunderlight. Waves of air continued to explode in the air, and a large amount of ice was also shattered. After a while, Sasuke felt that he was breathing a little, but Neji remained unchanged. "I can't go on like this, or even if chakra is enough, my stamina won't be able to keep up," Sasuke thought. Neji's physical endurance is definitely stronger than Sasuke. In this high-intensity collision, Neji is even more dominant. After a collision, Sasuke flew back instantly. A large number of pheasant swords split out, and immediately flew towards Neji. And Neji's hands became pitch black in an instant. Ding ding ding. The hands danced quickly, hitting the tip of these pheasant swords with precision without a single blow, and quickly drove the pheasant swords flying. With the addition of Shanshu, the strength of the armed color is not weaker than that of yin and yang. But these swords were still reluctant and continued to besiege Neji. Sage art, fire style, scorching river, the large piece of flame almost condensed into substance, rushing towards Neji, and it was obvious that Sasuke had used ninjutsu. Drink, Neji shook off all the pheasant swords instantly. 8 trigrams, empty palm, Neji slammed forward. The impact of a spiral broke this substantial flame in an instant. Sasuke's figure was revealed. The impact of the spiral directly knocked the shocked Sasuke out. And Neji squatted abruptly, and his body shot out along the broken hole in an instant. And the pheasant sword behind him still flew past Neji. Flying in the air, Sasuke gritted his teeth and suddenly rolled over and landed on the ice with his feet. Glide backwards continuously on the ice. Neji's physical skills are too strong, and he basically doesn't have much resistance in front of Neji. Sasuke watched Neji fly over, and the purple chakra instantly enveloped his body. A huge Valkyrie appeared instantly. Sasuke uses Susanoo. Then the huge blade slashed at Neji in an instant. The 3-layer activation, pure green chakra burst out from Neji. Hey! 8 inner gates and my breathing method are used at the same time. Quan Yu was a little surprised. But if you think about it, you can understand that opening the door to the 3rd floor is almost at the limit of Neji's control. If you continue to open the door, he will not be able to be a more perfect master chakra. That's why we choose activation that is easier to control. The two are different. One is to activate the body, and the other is to release the body's limitations. The combination of the two also makes Neji stronger. But this inevitably limits the explosive power of 8 inner gates, and the two cannot be driven to the limit at the same time. Maybe the 3-layer activation, and the combination of both of them is already Neji's limit. It's just more stable, it won't hurt his body, and it can last longer. Sasuke's knife slashed to the ground in an instant. The flying pheasant sword also rushed into the bursting ice mist. But in an instant, Sasuke was startled. A green figure broke through the ice mist and shot out. Then he waved his hand, and several shadows shot at Sasuke in an instant. Sasuke's Susanoo immediately waved his hand to block. Kakaka, these shadows were inserted into Susanoo in an instant. It turns out that these shadows are exactly the yin-yang escape pheasant sword he made. And Neji's figure shook in the air, and instantly his body shot at Sasuke's Susanoo. The speed is amazing. What? He wants to directly attack Susanoo with physical skills, who he thinks he is. Sasuke couldn't believe it. The chakra sword in Susanoo's hand stood in front of him. And Neji hit it directly. The chakra sword shattered instantly. Neji came directly in front of Sasuke, and the two looked at each other across Susanoo. Sasuke's eyes were shocked, but Neji was still expressionless. Neji swept through the air and broke Susanoo directly. The highly cohesive chakra broke Susanoo in an instant, acting on Sasuke's body. Knocked Sasuke out of Susanoo. This. How could it be possible? Sasuke couldn't believe it. His Susanoo was like paper in front of Neji. But he did not give up. Sasuke rolled over in the air. Susanoo appeared again. A huge bow and arrow appeared on Susanoo, and the black lightning was compressed into feathers by Sasuke. Neji was shot at the flying arrow. The fierce thunder sounded across the sky. Neji's body paused in the air, and his outstretched hands instantly became pitch black. Drink. Neji's hands were instantly pressed on the thunderbolt feathers. Driven by the powerful impact, his body kept retreating. Drive me. Neji drank again. He pulled both hands, and the solid chakra arrow was directly torn in half by him. Then there were violent explosions on both sides of Neji. But what came immediately was another thunderbolt, rushing straight into Neji's body. His hands were too late to react. Neji's eyes condensed. The chakra on his body suddenly exploded, and then he lifted his foot and kicked it on the thunderbolt. Boom! The fierce thunder and lightning immediately enveloped there, emitting a strong light. Sasuke, who had just fired a thunderbolt, didn't show any expression, and Susanoo on his body also disappeared. The opponent can't be defeated by him just like that. Sure enough, after the light passed, Neji, who seemed to be fused with green chakra, appeared. Is this the power of Tenseigan? It doesn't look great, Sasuke said with a sneer on his face. Obviously he still doesn't know what Tenseigan means, especially Tenseigan supported by giant Tenseigan. It doesn't have as many abilities as Rinnegan, but its control of Truth-Seeking Ball is ultimate. Neji did not speak, and Truth-Seeking Ball appeared behind him. The green chakra lit up, and Neji stretched out his hand, and all the Truth-Seeking Balls shot out quickly. Truth-Seeking Ball, it's not just you. Sasuke looked at the Truth-Seeking Ball that came from the shot, and the Truth-Seeking Ball that controlled him turned into a barrier to stand in front of him. There was a violent crash, just as Sasuke was about to put away the barrier. A little green light appeared at the corner of his eyes. What? The Truth-Seeking Ball actually bypassed the barrier and attacked him. Bang bang bang. Sasuke was continuously attacked, and even he did not expect that at such a fast speed, Neji's Truth-Seeking Ball could still be controlled like this. Moreover, the distance he used the Truth-Seeking Ball was too far, but even in this case, he could still control the Truth-Seeking Ball flexibly. Is it the relationship of the green chakra on Truth-Seeking Ball? It strengthens the control of Truth-Seeking Ball. Sasuke was beaten by this sudden attack with no resistance, although the annihilation ability of the Truth-Seeking Ball was ineffective against him. The pheasant sword in his hand also fell. But just as the pheasant sword was about to fall, Sasuke's eyes shook, and he instantly turned into a pheasant sword. He exchanged positions with the pheasant sword and escaped from the continuous attack of the Neji truth-seeking ball. But as soon as Sasuke appeared, Neji also appeared in front of Sasuke instantly. "I won't make this mistake again," Neji said lightly. "What? He's still in that state at such a fast speed, it's not good," Sasuke was startled. 8 trigrams, palm connected, Neji took the pose of gentle fist. His body was instantly blurred, and countless shocks were applied to Sasuke's body. What? The truth-seeking ball behind Sasuke still wanted to defend, but was knocked into the air by Neji in an instant. "Compared to the moves of the god airstrike, but the attack is more cohesive," Kagaya said. "Neji has never given up on gentle fist training," Quan Yu said with a smile. "It's amazing. Sasuke won't have any trouble," Naruto said blankly. "It's not that easy to die. In other words, 10 Tails is also integrated. Neji didn't attack his vitals, but injuries are inevitable," Quan Yu said. Punch, Neji didn't make a cruel hand either, and he shot Sasuke away with just one blow. It penetrated the ice directly. "It's over, Sasuke should be sober now," Quan Yu said lightly. "I'm afraid he hasn't given up yet. He is mobilizing 10 Tails chakra a lot. Do you want to stop it?" Kagaya said. "Oh, very strong. I want to fight back at this time," Quan Yu said in surprise. "He wants to continue, just let him continue," Quan Yu said nonchalantly. "Really think that this will pose a threat to Neji?" The fierce thunder and lightning continued to penetrate the ice, attracting Neji's attention. "Can you still fight?" His attack was not so easy to resist. The condensed chakra directly penetrated Sasuke's body. Because of this, as long as he keeps attacking, Sasuke can't mobilize chakra at all. The ice continued to break, and a large ice pit appeared. Surrounded by countless thunders, a huge body that resembled a god slowly emerged. It was covered with this purple armor, and its body was blue-white, as if it were made of lightning. A lot of thunder and lightning continued to oscillate on it. Neji's eyes condensed. He could see Sasuke with bleeding from the corner of his mouth, and Sasuke felt something, and looked at Neji. "This is the ultimate state of Susanoo. Use Susanoo to accommodate 10 Tails chakra and transform it into a thunder attribute," Quan Yu said. "Rinnegan is definitely the most matching eye with 10 Tails, and it is no surprise that Sasuke can mobilize so many chakras. Neji, I admit that you are strong, just physical skills are unmatched, but I won't just give in. Use your Tenseigans power. My Rinnegan will not lose to you," Sasuke looked at Neji and said. Neji's physique has reached another level, but physique is only physique after all, unless it is as powerful as Quan Yu. Their most powerful power is their eyes. With Rinnegan and the power of 10 Tails, he doesn't think he will lose to Neji. "I finally know why Quan Yu wants me to fight with you. Your strength is only to be strong, and my strength is to surpass myself, even to surpass Quan Yu. You don't understand the meaning of power at all. It is a tool for us to realize our dreams and surpass ourselves, but you think that power is ourselves, and becoming stronger is just to satisfy our own expansive desires." Before Neji met Quan Yu, he was bound by the fate of the branch house. Caged bird makes him desperate and makes him feel that everything is meaningless. However, Quan Yu told him that he had to rely on himself to break his fate. He worked hard, just to break free of his prison. This is his obsession. He did part of it. When Quan Yu made it easier for him to crack Caged bird, he refused. Because only by surpassing oneself can you break through the shackles, otherwise the caged bird in reality will disappear, but the caged bird in his heart will always exist. That's why he opened the 8th gate regardless of the cost. Even if he died, he had to break through the limits of his heart. Quan Yu looked at Neji with admiration, and even he had to admire Neji's determination. His own will may not be as good as Neji is different. This is why he chose Neji as his heir, not because he can evolve Tenseigan. Strength can be cultivated, but faith can only depend on oneself. Neji, who broke through the limits of Caged bird by himself, is undoubtedly a perfect existence. There is no flaw in the mind. It won't be affected by power, which even Quan Yu can't do. "I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Take out your strength. Without enough strength, everything is meaningless. We are weak, so we struggle. Everything is because we are too weak. Weak to no resistance, can only be at the mercy of fate." Sasuke's experience made him quite superstitious of power. He doesn't want that kind of helplessness. Only strength can enrich him. Susanoo, like a god, stretched out his hand, and a thunder and lightning spear appeared in its hand amidst the thunder and lightning. It seems that you still don't understand that we live for ourselves. Power is only a tool, but we are humans, not tools. A long sword appeared in Neji's hands. A truth-seeking ball ignited green chakra, slowly clinging to Neji's long sword. The long sword began to sparkle with bright yellow light, and it turned into a long sword with huge light. Several truth-seeking balls, also shrouded in green chakra, surround the hilt. Oh, I can control it to such a level. Neji has made great progress over the years, Kuan Yu said in surprise. The ultimate transformation of truth-seeking ball, isn't this an ability that Kuan Yu has only? Yui was also quite shocked. This is what makes Neji special. Although it hasn't completely compressed the power of truth-seeking ball, it is quite powerful, Kuan Yu said excitedly. His transformation of truth-seeking ball is based on the understanding of the yin and yang in the 5 elements, and the conversion between attributes can transform the compressed energy of truth-seeking ball into an attribute. Exert great power. And Neji relied on Tensagen's power to directly strengthen the ability of Jinlin reincarnation. Let truth-seeking ball transform into that bright yellow energy. Although it cannot be compressed to the level of Kuan Yu, it is quite stable in terms of form. And Neji, who has achieved this step, still has huge room for growth. With this strength, I want to be comparable to me, Sasuke sneered. The chakra wave on Neji's bright yellow sword is not strong, and even the energy is not strong. There is no comparison with him at all. The strength of strength is not determined by quantity. Neji flew up. Are you ready? Neji's great sword pointed toward Sasuke. Humph, Sasuke snorted coldly. The lightning spear in Susanoo's hand shot out instantly. Neji directly lifted the giant sword and slashed it abruptly. The violent thunder and lightning surged, and the terrifying energy instantly enveloped that area. This is the price of arrogance, Sasuke said dismissively. With such a strong energy, even Neji could not be unharmed. But just as Sasuke waited for the energy to dissipate and continued to attack, the area shrouded by thunder and lightning was instantly cut open and divided into 2 halves. And Neji was standing there with those great swords. Senseless attack, how could it be? Sasuke was shocked. It cut through his attack so easily. And Neji didn't wait for Sasuke's reaction, and flew out instantly, attacking Sasuke's Susanoo directly. Damn it. A thunder sword appeared again in Sasuke's hand, and it hit Neji with a slash, and a thunder sword aura was swung out by Sasuke. Neji raised his sword to block. But Sasuke didn't retreat but moved forward, bullying himself directly to Neji's side. The thunder and lightning long knife, constantly waving. Neji's eyes narrowed. The long sword in his hand blocked Sasuke's thunder sword, and then he kicked Sasuke's Susanoo with one kick. Bang! Neji frowned. The strong air wave exploded. Susanoo didn't break directly as he imagined, but there were cracks in the armor on the surface. Ha ha ha. Do you think you can easily break my Susanoo like before? I am different now, Sasuke laughed. This is also the reason why he dared to get close to Neji. With the bonus of 10 tails chakra, his Susanoo's strength increased again. Neji dodged the thunder and lightning spear that Sasuke had swept away. Back quickly. Want to run? Sasuke Susanoo saw a thunder and lightning spear in his hand and then quickly swelled into a huge thunder and lightning shuriken. At Neji, he threw it fiercely. The thunder and lightning were permeating, and the huge shuriken rotated at high speed, turning into a thunder light wheel. Soon after, he caught up with Neji. Neji raised the giant sword in his hand to block, and thunder and lightning continued to surge amid fierce friction. Neji was forced to retreat constantly by the impact, and he also saw Sasuke approaching from behind. With a pull of the chakra long sword in his hand, he directly used his strength to bounce him quickly, pulling away. Is that so, Neji? You disappointed me too much, Sasuke sneered. Why didn't Neji use all his strength? Otherwise Sasuke would be impossible to stop, Kagaya asked. Relying too much on the power of the eyes, then what is the difference between him and Sasuke? Look at it. Maybe there is a surprise, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Obviously keeping the back hand and never using it, it shows that Neji has other ways to defeat Sasuke. Naruto next to him was also taken aback. Neji hasn't used all his strength yet? How strong is Neji? Neji's body moved quickly, constantly avoiding Sasuke's attacks. After a violent explosion, Neji's body was shot out again. Sasuke stopped too, and he looked at Neji disdainfully. Give up. You are not my opponent, but I still admit that you are strong. Neji's terrifying physical skills still left Sasuke's heart lingering. Really? You better prepare for the results, Neji said without any expression. The result? The result is that you will lose. Sasuke smiled wickedly at the corner of his mouth. Okay. Let you see my recent achievements. The giant sword in Neji's hand stretched out. Above it, the truth-seeking ball, which was originally used to maintain the stability of the energy on the giant sword, began to spin quickly. When the green truth-seeking ball is spinning at high speed, strands of golden energy are constantly entering the giant sword. Everyone was shocked to see that the giant sword in Neji's hand was shrinking. The golden energy is constantly lingering and absorbing, and the light is also intense, looking radiant. This is the power of the complete truth-seeking ball. Neji is compressing these energy. Yui couldn't believe it. It was enough to make him astonished just now, and he didn't expect Neji to be able to strengthen it further. This has reached the level of Quan Yu's use. Sure enough, it didn't disappoint me. This kind of talent is amazing, Hamura also exclaimed. Kagaya is also quite shocked. Physical skills, truth-seeking ball control. Neji is not as good as Quan Yu, but she has vaguely seen a trace of Quan Yu from Neji. This kind of attack is absolutely uncomfortable even if she takes it. The sword in Neji's hand was turned into a ball of light in Sasuke's shocked gaze, and the shape of the sword was no longer visible. Golden wheel slashing sword. As Neji's voice just fell, under the intense light, his hands seemed to move. A strange voice sounded. A large piece of ice shattered directly, and there seemed to be a light flashing directly in the air. Looking at Neji, the long sword in his hand has become an ordinary look, as if the attack just now has exhausted the energy on it. Only a few black truth-seeking balls still surround it. On Sasuke's side, he was stunned. Click. Kaka. A huge sword mark appeared on his Susanoo, and then countless white lights emerged from the crack. Boom! In Sasuke's dull eyes, his Susanoo exploded directly. Neji let out a breath. Then he flew slowly to Quan Yu and the others. Fortunately, I am done. Neji saluted, and Naruto also woke up from the shock. Wow, Neji, you are too good, but Sasuke is okay, Naruto exclaimed. It's okay, I avoided his body, but such a strong explosion will definitely hurt him seriously, Neji stood up and said. Good job, Naruto, you have to work harder, maybe sometime, I will let you compete with Neji, Quan Yu said with a smile. How could I be Neji's opponent, Naruto said embarrassedly. Then don't try hard to cultivate. When we first arrived, you were lazy, Quan Yu glanced at Naruto and said. He, like Sasuke, is not under pressure and doesn't know how to make progress. No, I just take a break, Naruto hurriedly shook his head and said. Neji's rapid progress shocked his heart. It surpassed him and Sasuke in an instant. Quan Yu also smiled. To be honest, he didn't expect Neji to improve so fast. After a few years of adaptation, he took the Tensigan Master to this level. It is indeed the genius who broke through Caged Bird by himself. But, Neji, don't just be busy practicing. You should solve your personal problems. Someone has found Keiko, Quan Yu said to Neji with a smile. Neji was embarrassed. But my body, Neji was silent for a moment. Don't worry. I asked Master Kagaya, after the original will is integrated into the body, you can only be yourself, and my cells will be assimilated by you, Quan Yu said with a smile. When Neji fully integrated his original will into his body was already different. There are no other people's cells anymore. Even if they are taken out and cloned, they will only look like Neji. This is the high degree of unity between the original will and the body. For them, the original will is the body, and the body is the original will. Really, Neji said in surprise. In order to allow himself to break through, he severely destroyed his body, so he had to use his cells to repair him. This made him dare not face Tenten at all. Quan Yu was also preparing to transplant 10 tails to Sasuke and the others to change their body. So I asked Kagaya. As a result, Kagaya told him that the most special thing about them is their souls that integrate their original will, when these are integrated into the body. Their offspring will only inherit their own attributes. This means that Quan Yu's genes have little influence on Neji at all. However, some of the abilities of Quan Yu's cells may still be inherited, because Neji is already the master. Among their Otsutsuki family, there are such examples. This also gave Quan Yu a sigh of relief, and only then told Neji about this at this time. What? Neji, you are getting married. Congratulations, Naruto said in surprise. As Naruto, 1 year younger than Neji, he has even children. And Neji is not married yet, it is indeed a bit embarrassing. As a member of the Sky Council, Naruto certainly knows who Neji's marriage partner is. After all, I often see people come to Neji. Quickly stop talking nonsense, go get Sasuke back, we have to go back, Kuan Yu said. After experiencing this blow, Sasuke should have matured a little bit. No, just fight again. This was not what Kuan Yu deliberately. When drinking tea with Itachi, Itachi said that Sasuke's condition was wrong, and asked Kuan Yu to help. After all, Sasuke is married, and it's not better for him to be a big brother than to intervene. Kuan Yu hopes that Sasuke will gradually become mature, but things backfired. This time, it happened to teach Sasuke a lesson. Oh, I got it, Naruto just remembered that Sasuke was still lying there. He hurriedly jumped out, and after a while, Sasuke, who had resisted a coma, returned. Then Kuan Yu opened the space door, and several people left here. After returning to the Sky Council, Naruto sent Sasuke to the little Sakura. Sasuke, who was badly injured, surprised little Sakura. After Naruto explained in detail, little Sakura is also very helpless, she knows Sasuke's strong character. However, no one has treated him as to why he was injured like this. Naruto helped little Sakura send Sasuke home, and left after a few words with little Sakura. Little Sakura also knew that Sasuke's injury would not be long before he could recover on his own, and he was relieved. Then he sent Naruto away. Little Sakura tidied up and was about to go to see Sasuke, but when she opened the door, she found that Sasuke was squatting on the ground looking at the sleeping Sarana. Sasuke, you are awake, little Sakura exclaimed. Sasuke made a Shizune gesture to Sakura. Then he stared at the little baby in the cradle blankly. Little Sakura knows that this failure will hit Sasuke a lot. Sasuke is as arrogant as Kuan Yu. After all, no one dared to say that he could defeat Kuan Yu. But the failure was given to Neji, who was originally mediocre, and only emerged in recent years as the heir to the Speaker of the Sky Council Izumi Yu. It is conceivable how much the blow to Sasuke was. Little Sakura walked over to Sasuke and squatted down. Neji was chosen by Kuan Yu after all. There must be something special, Sasuke, don't mind too much. Well, I see. Let's cook, I'm hungry. Maybe I'm too conceited and missed a lot of important things, Sasuke said. It's just that the expression in his eyes looking at Zuoliang Na became very gentle. Little Sakura looked at Sasuke blankly, as if she didn't recognize him. Is there any problem, little Sakura? Sasuke found little Sakura who was not moving, turned his head and asked softly. Seeing Sasuke whose eyes were no longer sharp, but rather gentle. Little Sakura's heartbeat seemed to stop for a moment. Oh, well, I'll do it right away. Little Sakura reacted and hurriedly got up and ran out. When the little Sakura walked out of the room, she looked back at Sasuke, who was still looking at Zorana in a daze. The eye sockets were a little wet, and Sasuke really changed. Then she immediately packed up and left here. The emotions of the Uchiha clan are too intense, such a failure is good for Sasuke's growth, Itachi said after taking a sip of tea. Yes, Sasuke, who hasn't experienced too many battles, can hardly vent the hostility in his heart, and it will only intensify. On the contrary, Naruto's state is much better. Kuan Yu laughed. Haha, it's okay now, but it's so rare to come to me, not just for Sasuke's business, Itachi laughed. Of course not. Sasuke has already integrated a part of 10 tails and achieved sage body. After a while, it will begin to integrate the original will. Do you think about it? Kuan Yu said. So many people want to fuse. Do you have so much original will? Itachi said in surprise. The original will is a scarce resource and cannot be obtained casually. The number is still enough. After all, for such a long time, there are not a few people who die, and only those with the real Master Shanshu can complete the fusion, Kuan Yu explained. Yui has collected souls for so many years, and he has not many souls. Although there are not so many humans before, but it has been long enough, and it is because of war. The number is enough to maintain a few of them. This time not only Naruto and Sasuke, but also Neji, Sharon, and Kuan Yu are planning to add Itachi. But Itachi's body is a bit troublesome. Is that so? I'm not welcome, thank you Kuan Yu, Itachi said. Of course he knows the preciousness of the original will, and just the point of his fusion allowed him to turn on Rinnegan. And Kuan Yu wanted him to merge to the limit, one can imagine how much it needs to be consumed. He also knew that Kuan Yu was accumulating ninja power, so he agreed without hesitation. You are welcome, your talent can reach this level sooner or later, I just helped you advance, but you may need to be the same as Sasuke without sage body. Kuan Yu hasn't finished yet. Who said I didn't? Itachi smiled. Kuan Yu was taken aback. But then something came to mind. His eyes condensed, and he began to observe Itachi's body. He actually found Ultimate's Yang escape chakra on Itachi, which only exists in Sage body. Although ordinary people can also produce by extracting vitality, this is too harmful to the body. Itachi is obviously not. When I turned on Rinnegan, my body seemed to be stimulated, chakra kept getting more and more, and because of Rinnegan's relationship, I actually discovered the existence of Yang Yun, Itachi said with a smile. Good luck. Although there are many people with the Otsutsuki family genes, not many can open the Sage body, Kuan Yu praised. Itachi's body is very strange. He is absolutely tough on Mangekyo Sharingan's master. With his body at the time, Susanoo can be opened to the limit that Sharingan can accept. But he seems to be seriously ill as a result, and it should be related to his Sharingan. But Itachi was able to master the Sage body because of Rinnegan's stimulation, which was beyond Kuan Yu's expectation. There are also other examples, such as Neji, because he broke through the restriction of Caged Bird's body, he also made his body a Sage body. Even so, their Sage body is not the most complete Sage body. Cells can replicate indefinitely, as long as they are maintained by Yang, they can remain immortal. But for practice, accepting the original will is enough. When the original will merge, their cells will also evolve, breaking the limit of life, and gaining immortality. I'm also very surprised. I also want to thank Kuan Yu for your help, Itachi smiled. What else do we need to be polite? I will send you to the gravitational space to practice later. When you can move freely inside, you can barely accept the ultimate will of origin, Kuan Yu said. Sage body has a higher tolerance to accept the original will, but it has to be raised to a certain strength. Although the fusion of Tensegan's tissues can also increase body strength, they can't break down Tensegan. Moreover, Itachi and the others can also improve their physical skills in their cultivation, achieving 2 goals with 1 stone. After all, strength and physical strength may not necessarily have a causal relationship. It just so happens that Naruto is also practicing in it, which is not boring, Itachi smiled. I think Naruto should be very happy too, Kuan Yu also smiled, and then raised his teacup. The final preparations have been completed, and after waiting a period of time, their strength will reach its peak state. The number of people who have the ultimate will of the original will directly reach the 9 people, which is simply unimaginable. This is also thanks to Yuya's preparation. It is not that he has collected so many souls, it is impossible for them to collect so many. This kind of power is that the Otsutsuki family should also pay attention to it. What's more, Kuan Yu still exists like this. That is to say, the current ninja is a new generation of the Otsutsuki family. It's just that they are developing peacefully here. But the Otsutsuki clan, Ishin, wanted to plunder everything. If the sacred tree was successfully planted in the ninja world, I am afraid that the planetary energy here will be drained quickly. This is almost a predatory harvest. The planetary energy is drained, and human beings will also lose their living space. And chakra is also important in the Otsutsuki clan. When the sacred tree grows, it actually extracts a certain amount of planetary energy. Fortunately, the energy of the ninja world is still abundant, and Kuan Yu also limits Kaguya's absorption of the energy of the ninja world. Even let 10 tails absorb the energy of the sun to deny the ninja world. However, afterwards, the power of 10 tails will be strengthened by a large amount of soul replenishment. A part of the planet's energy may be extracted to create chakra to keep 10 tails stable. This is what Kuan Yu agreed, and there is no way. 10 tails will is almost a collection of a large number of soul fragments. Such a violent will must use enough energy to neutralize it. However, the area covered by the sacred tree will become larger, and the absorption of solar energy will become stronger. Just make it up slowly at that time. What's more, natural energy is transformed, which will make the living environment of mankind more suitable. There are gains and losses, and as the number of people practicing immortality increases in the future, there will always be natural energy that will not be enough. But this time is still early, and the energy absorbed by the sacred tree alone can sustain many people's cultivation. The Otsutsuki clan did not use the function of the sacred tree at all, but used it as a combat weapon. The sacred tree is very similar to the world tree described in Kuan Yu's previous life novels. Almost there is a world tree, and the environment of the entire planet will be better. But in the hands of the Otsutsuki clan, almost wherever the sacred tree is planted, it will be destroyed. This is also clear that natural energy is in front of you, but none of Otsutsuki has discovered its effect. Instead, they are constantly plundering lives to create chakra in the original will. There is only destruction in their hearts. That's why Kuan Yu looked down on these people. Even the sacred trees of their own clan have become like this, there is nothing they can't do. This is why Kuan Yu does not plan to move closer to the Otsutsuki clan. Such a nation should not exist. After Kuan Yu sent Itachi to the gravity space, he came to a room. Konohamaru, have you figured it out? If you don't want to, I can also restore your body to its original state, but Shanshu can no longer be used. Kuan Yu looked at Konohamaru and said. I think it's okay. It's okay. The clan now needs a leader, and I'm the right person who has cultivated into immortality, Konohamaru said seriously. Kuan Yu shook his head. He had clearly told Konohamaru what it meant. But for the sake of the family, he still chose to accept it. The Sarutobi clan really needs you, but you have to keep your heart. I don't want you to follow your grandfather's old path, otherwise I can only get my cells back with my own hands, Kuan Yu said lightly. I understand. Konohamaru lowered his head when Kuan Yu mentioned that his grandpa's eyes were a little dim. Just do it for yourself. As for your grandfather's corpse, sorry, he has rendered himself inhuman. After saying that, Kuan Yu walked to the door. If you do miss, he is at your feet. Konohamaru's expression was shocked. But when he looked up, Kuan Yu had disappeared. He walked out blankly, under his feet. Looking at the sacred tree that covered the sky, he seemed to understand what? A tear slipped instantly. The Sky Council, which hadn't made any action for a long time, actually began to surrender the lawless forces in the ninja world. And it just informs countries to cooperate, and there is no room for negotiation. Many lawbreakers are actually related to the upper echelons of various countries, and everyone knows it well. As long as it is not excessive, no one will care. But I didn't expect to attract the attention of the Sky Council. This is a little troublesome, which affects the interests of many people. So these people are very much in line with the actions of the Sky Council. In fact, they just hide these lawless forces deeper. Attempt to get through. Anyway, although the Sky Council is powerful, its divergence is not large, and there is not so much time to investigate. Except for Naruto, all the parliamentarians are concentrated in the conference room. Neji was carefully looking at the report in hand, and he was a little dissatisfied with the reports from various countries. The whole story is eulogizing, but in fact, there are very few things done, which is obviously perfunctory. What's the situation in the major ninja villages? Neji asked. Ninamura is all cooperating, but after all, it is against the lawless forces in the country and encountered many obstacles, Gaara said. Compared with those politicians, the big ninja villages are still quite cooperative with the arrangements of the Sky Council. But they didn't enforce it either, and wanted to see the attitude of the Sky Council. Sure enough. I don't know if I don't try. How long it has been before some people don't put the Sky Council in their eyes, Neji said lightly. All the MPS didn't speak, they all looked at Neji. According to my order, gather all the warriors, start the ships, and begin to surrender all the lawless forces. If you dare to stop them, kill them. As soon as the last word, kill, came out, everyone's face changed. It is the first time that the Sky Parliament will not interfere in the internal affairs of various countries. Will it be too intense? We can give another notice and warn first, Samui said. This is not my request. Other things have been mixed in these lawless forces, and these people don't take us too seriously, Neji interrupted Sammy. Everyone's complexion changed. It was not Neji's request. Who can order Neji? I'm afraid only. All start. This time you are also involved, clear. Everyone stood up and said in unison. Their expressions became extremely serious in an instant. Almost all of them signed a contract. Needless to say, they may also be clear about some problems, not to mention that this is the person's request. Then there was a constant roar, and ships rose into the sky. A large number of warriors are gathering in an orderly manner. This is the inherent power of the Sky City, and the Iron Kingdom is almost completely integrated into the Sky Council. The merchants from all walks of life in the City of the Sky, or people from various countries, are a little at a loss. What's the matter? How could the Sky Council make such a big move? There was no news before. Some of them returned to their residences one after another, seemingly ready to pass the news back. As the samurai continued to log on to the ship, the figures of several swords quickly flew towards the ship. The people around also recognized that these were members of the Sky Council, and almost all of them. This large-scale action was the first time I saw it in the Sky Council, and some people even thought that there was going to be a war. So they all started talking. But the pressure spread instantly, and everyone's bodies froze. The scene suddenly became quiet, set off. The sound rang, and the previous coercion disappeared instantly. Everyone clearly understood that the person just now was probably the young speaker of the Sky Council. Drink, all the samurai shouted. The ship vacated, divided into several teams, and began to fly out in all directions. At this time, all the talents came to a sense of shock. Who is this who offends the Sky Council without opening his eyes? Usually, the Sky Council only records the affairs of various countries, or settles disputes. Even small countries have special support plans. A good image cannot be better. This is the first time we have seen the use of force. However, these people still do what they should do. Anyone who dares to confront the Sky Council is simply impatient. There must be a threat to the ninja world, and the Sky Council would make such an action. They don't worry that the Sky Council will fail. After all, although they haven't done much, almost everyone knows that the Sky Council Master has absolute power. These counselors are all the existence of Master Shanshu, and with the assistance of the Tail Beast, they are almost the strongest power in the ninja world. As all kinds of news are passed on, countries are also becoming nervous. They did not expect that the Sky Council's actions were so big this time. The ninja world that had been at peace for a long time also began to yell. The major ninja villages also noticed the attitude of the Sky Council, and they all began to cooperate with the actions of the Sky Council. Hey! Those guys with only fat in their heads dare to test the Sky Council. This is simply looking for death, Tsunade sneered. Indeed, there is nothing wrong with the instructions of the Sky Council. I used to open my eyes and close my eyes. When I clearly knew the attitude of the Sky Council, I still took a fluke. This is damned. Jiraiya said seriously. He now has his hair neatly trimmed, he has a beard, and his clothes are crisp and neat. No longer the previous sloppy, with a serious expression, it feels like a new person. I said, are you irritated? It always feels a bit strange for you to be like this. Tsunade turned to look at Jiraiya and said. How can I say that I am a real fairy now, and I still have to have the image that I should have? Jiraiya smiled. Oh, isn't it, but it looks good, keep it up, Tsunade also smiled. But her eyes flashed a few times. Jiraiya is also unspeakable, he has persisted for so long, why is there no response? Could it be Quan Yu who lied to me? But the other little girls looked at me differently. He is now even younger because of Shanshu, but how long will it last? But some things just get used to it, maybe Jiraiya will really change. All kinds of settlements are constantly being carried out, and the Sky Council has collected a lot of intelligence before, plus the cooperation of the major Shinin villages. These lawless forces were wiped out one after another, not that no one tried to hinder them, but almost all of them were ruthlessly wiped out. After that, I didn't dare to say anything again. And during this settlement, it was indeed discovered that some lawless forces had formed a certain scale. Human body research, manufacturing of weapons of war, etc. These have violated the bottom line of the villages, and their settlement has begun to be merciless. Some related personnel were arrested and interrogated. There is the Kabuto of the Sky Council, so they don't have to worry about anything. Soon the task of clearing up was completed, and even small countries were not let go. As long as there were clues, almost all were ruthlessly destroyed. The people caught are also handed over to the major shinobu villages. The Sky Council did not take care of this, even if it finds out, it is the matter of their respective countries. The Sky Council is inconvenient to deal with, just wait for the result. The surrender task that lasted for a period of time finally came to an end, and the ninja world was almost completely cleaned up. Some people who are cautious do not dare to take any more actions. The prestige of the Sky Council once again ushered in its peak. They all knew that the Sky Council didn't get any benefits at all this time, and it was solely for the stability of the shinobi world that this action took place. This undoubtedly makes the Sky Council more popular among ordinary people. Following this turmoil, the shinobi world became quiet again. The Sky Council is still the same, and nothing has changed. But time is hurried, and 1 year has passed in a blink of an eye. The residents of the Sky City began to evacuate in an orderly manner, and the surrounding buildings were already torn down. Moved to a farther place. This is the news that the Sky Council has long notified that the sacred tree will evolve and will become even larger. That's why this evacuation took place. Although ordinary people don't know what the evolution of the sacred tree represents, they also know that this is a good thing. People living here obviously find that the environment around the sacred tree will be better and the air will be fresher. The sacred tree has evolved, wouldn't it be better? Of course, some people know. What exactly is the sacred tree? But anyone who knows also knows that this must have something to do with Kuan Yu. This means that Kuan Yu and their strength will become stronger, to prepare for the invasion of the Otsutsuki clan. The crowds of people are now watching from far away. After all, they are also very curious about what the sacred tree evolved. Hey, it feels like we are getting further and further away from Kuan Yu, Terumi Mei said with a sigh. What is there to worry about? It's better to practice hard if you have this leisurely mind. I don't want to die old, Oyemu said disdainfully. I thought everyone was like you. This lady still has a lot of time, Terumi Mei Zhao smiled. You. Okay, don't quarrel. Lu Kuan-yu has laid it out for us, and the rest is spent slowly, and it is not impossible to reach the level of Kuan-yu, Tsunade said lightly. Yeah, after so many years, I actually didn't feel aging, and I even felt younger and younger. Maybe I might have a chance to reach the level of Kuan-yu and the others, Fourth Raikage said. Hey, it depends on my talent, but I have already entered the next level, Tsunade smiled. What? So fast, Onoki was surprised. It's just that you didn't find the right direction. You rely too much on the seeds of the fairy technique but you can't make progress, Tsunade said triumphantly. Kuan Yu had reminded her a long time ago that she must work harder here for Realm. That's why she didn't continue to work hard on chakra, but instead focused on her own perception of immortality. And there is no worries about the existence of Shanshu seeds, natural energy runs away. People like them have been given immortality for so long, and they have already understood how to control natural energy. And can clearly perceive the change of natural energy through the seeds of fairy magic. In a disguised form, it reduces the difficulty of practicing fairy art. And Jiraiya also taught her how to practice Mount Myoboku, which made Tsunade practice faster. HMPH, isn't there a good disciple? Maybe he told you some trick, Oyemu said dissatisfied. Hey, Kuan Yu didn't tell me anything special. You must know that my grandpa also practiced immortality on his own, and of course he will leave me something. Tsunade smiled. Onoki was taken aback. It's true. If so, it's not uncommon for Tsunade to improve so fast. But this is inheritance for others, and they have no way to intervene. If you don't have this talent, you can only use it slowly. The longer the time, the higher the probability of cultivating immortality. This is what Kuan Yu told me, Tsunade continued. There is no need to hide this. Oyemu is speechless. He is different from others. What he lacks most is time. After all, even if he is so old, even if senescence is delayed due to celestial art, it will take decades at most. Like Tsunade, it's no problem to live for more than 100 years. In fact, there is another thing Tsunade did not say, that is, after self-cultivation into immortality, the speed of absorbing natural energy will be faster. The control of natural energy is also higher. After fully entering Sage Mode, chakra will increase faster. Fighting will be stronger. The other side. Inside the sacred tree. The evacuation is almost complete, and it can begin, Kuan Yu said with a flash of light in his eyes. Kagaya nodded. The souls in 100 years have been transferred away. I immediately opened the space channel to let the sacred tree absorb the soul, Yuya said. Tensigan is also ready. You can mobilize the chakra in it at any time, Hamura said. Tensigan has evolved to this level and has the ability to absorb natural energy. This is to help Ten Tails improve. After all, the chakra that Ten Tails needs to improve is too large. At the same time, it also depends on it to attract the original will of the soul after it is broken. These original wills will be solidified by yin and yang and injected into the human body in need. Well, the speed is a little slower, otherwise it will be troublesome if you can't control it, Kuan Yu said. Are you ready? He looked at the 5 people in front of him. Sasuke, Naruto, Itachi, Neji, Shuren, they stand side by side. Ready. Okay. Let's get started. As the space door leading to the Pure Land opened, countless souls began to jump out. Then he was attracted by the sacred tree and absorbed one after another. And the ground also stretched out roots to connect to Sasuke and others. Enter the fairy state, Kuan Yu sipped. The 5 people immediately sat down cross-legged, and quickly entered Sage Mode through the contact of Yu Meishin. But then their brows frowned. Instantly left the state of Sage Mode. Huh. What's going on? Yui said in surprise. Kagaya also stopped absorbing the soul. Only after a little fusion, a few people got out of Sage Mode. Obviously an accident happened. There is also a little memory in the original will, which will reflect in our consciousness after fusion, interrupting our fairy state, Itachi frowned and said. Sure enough. These original wills that have not been transformed by 10 tails are not so easy to absorb, Kagaya frowned. Go on. This bit of memory is nothing, you should pay the price if you endure strength, Sasuke said lightly. Naruto and the others also nodded. Compared to what they had acquired, this memory was really nothing. Yes, this is also the time to exercise your will, carry your strength, and also accept cause and effect. The memory that can exist in the original will must be his most precious, so appreciate it, Kuan Yu said lightly. Kuan Yu was originally worried that the rapid growth of power would affect them somewhat. But the current situation is solved perfectly. The key is to see if they can resist it. If you can't hold on, you can rest. We have time. If we don't want to continue, I agree. It depends on your own choice, Kuan Yu said. When he merged Shisui's eyes, he also saw Shisui's memory. Although the original will in Shisui's eyes is definitely stronger than ordinary people, Sasuke and the others now need to merge more. It is also more difficult to accept these memories, or you may lose yourself. Sasuke and their expressions also became serious. If they give up, it means they have failed. No one wants to just give up like this. They sat cross-legged on the ground again and started to enter sage mode. Kagaya glanced at it, and then began to absorb the soul again. After these souls are shattered, the original will be attracted by the giant Tensigan, and then enter Sasuke and the others through the link of 10 tails. And the outside world. The sacred tree also seems to be growing slowly, but because the sacred tree is too large, ordinary people can't see it at all. However, Tsunade and others can clearly feel that natural energy is being attracted by the sacred tree. It's really slow, I don't know how long it will last, Tsunade said. You didn't ask Izumi. Onoki glanced at Tsunade and said. I can't even see him, how can I ask? Tsunade said irritably. And some people in the crowd were looking at the sacred tree with weird eyes. In a dark space. The resources they were looking for actually allowed the sacred tree to grow again, Yi said with a frown. This situation is very unfavorable to him, but he has nothing to do. As soon as he appears, he will be chased by Kuan Yu, and he can't run away at all, not to mention the existence of Kagaya and others. It is estimated that he may have been dormant for a long time. The average Otsutsuki family cannot be the opponent of these people at all. I am afraid that he will have to wait until a total war to escape from this planet. Sasuke awoke with her head in her hands. Various emotions agitated in his consciousness, and the memories he saw were almost the deepest memories in his soul. Almost always accompanied by strong emotions. The impact on him is also great, and so many memories are mixed, making his brain chaotic. Go to sleep. Now it's hard for you to even enter sage mode, said Yui, who was sitting on the ground. There are also roots connected to the back of his head. He has lived for so many years, and he has seen everything he should have seen, and these memories have little effect on him. And he himself has a lot of original will. Integration is easier. Sasuke nodded. He knew that he was in this state and couldn't merge at all. Sasuke looked around. Sharon was already lying on the ground, resting as usual. Naruto also has a difficult expression, and it is estimated that it will be out of sage mode soon. Only Neji and Itachi are better. Where is Kuan Yu? Sasuke asked. He said it would be useless to wait here, go to practice, Yi said. Not only Izumi Yu, Hamura and Kagaya are gone. Sasuke nodded, and then lay directly on the ground. It didn't take long for Naruto to leave sage mode. After inquiring about it, I lay down and went to sleep. Kagaya slowed down the speed of absorbing souls, so Naruto and the others could hold on for so long. She is also paying attention to the situation here, so the growth rate of the sacred tree is very slow. It is difficult for outsiders to see the changes in the sacred tree. Gradually some people left, and it's useless to stay here forever, they can't see any changes at all. Tsunade and the others also left. I don't know how long this process will take. They are not idlers. Time passed slowly like this, and people were surprised to find that the sacred tree had really grown bigger. It's just that the previous increase was too insignificant, and it has been accumulated to the present, even they can see it. Time continued, and soon a month passed. Sasuke and them rested many times, and their original will has also accumulated some. Integration is easier. But what followed was that the sacred tree absorbed soul faster. It made a few people miserable. They can feel that the chakra in their bodies is rapidly increasing, but their minds are getting more and more tired. The rest time has also become longer. Even his own memory has become a little confused in this situation. Stop it. You need to digest it well. Kuan Yu appeared here again and awakened them with a voice. Go in, fight. Then go home and rest for a few days, then come again. Kuan Yu opened the space door. A few of them have been pushed to the limit, they have accumulated too many memories, and they can't get vent. Sooner or later make yourself into a neurosis. Although Kuan Yu also has a way to purify these original wills, he is not prepared to do so. The strong must bear their weight, and those who can't stick to it are waste. Several people looked at Kuan Yu blankly. Kuan Yu shook his head, then grabbed them directly and threw them into the space. Then he followed in too. After he came out of the space door, he saw several people still standing there. Immediately sneered. If I don't give you some stimulation, you may not be able to wake up. Then his eyes lit up suddenly, and his hair turned golden in an instant. Murderous aura surged from him. The eyes of Sasuke and the others were clear in an instant. Instinctive consciousness tells them that if they don't wake up, they will die. But before they understood what was going on, they received a heavy blow in an instant. Then fists kept falling on them. Then they were knocked out in an instant. After sliding a long distance on the ground, he stopped. Aren't you sober? If you feel that you can't do it anymore, I can ask you to give up, Kuan Yu said lightly while floating in the air, watching them. Ahem, if you have the ability, you can try it. Sasuke shook his head and said, removing the dust from his head. I think too, but I have reached the limit, but even before I merge to the limit, I am better than you. Come, attack me. I only use physical skills, you can use whatever abilities you want to see if you can defeat me, Kuan Yu smiled. That's what you said. Naruto also came to his senses, with fighting spirit in his eyes. Kuan Yu's strength is obvious to all, but if only using physical skills, they still have a very good chance. Neji shook his head. No matter how he looked, Kuan Yu's smile was malicious. Only Naruto can be fooled. But he does need to vent, fighting is undoubtedly the best way to vent his emotions. Truth-seeking ball appeared behind him in an instant. The 6th floor, Sharon also lit up the green chakra. He wanted to use physical skills to ask for advice, Kuan Yu, the first person in physical skills. Sasuke and Itachi also looked at each other, and the huge Susanoo appeared behind them. It's getting started. Naruto touched both fists, and the orange chakra was also enveloped in her body. That's right. Who did you show that ghost look just now? Kuan Yu said with a smile. Sasuke and others floated in the air, and then were taken back to Kuan Yu's own palace. Kuan Yu, you are back. What happened to them? Hizzy looked at the few people who had passed out in surprise. It's okay, it's just too tired. You arrange for someone to take them down to rest, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Keiko had a weird look. These people had blue noses and swollen faces, and they weren't too tired at all. But she still called people and arranged them to the guest room. Then Kuan Yu came to the inside of the sacred tree. How about it? Yui said with a smile. It's solved, but the cooperation of the 5 people is really so difficult to deal with, Kuan Yu said with a smile. This is also normal. They are almost the best in the ninja world. Without this talent, they wouldn't be seen by you, Yui said. Yes, how are you? Do you want to take a break? Kuan Yu said. No, I've lived for so long, and I've seen everything that I should have seen. A few memories still don't affect me. Sasuke and the others are just too young, Yui said. Kuan Yu nodded. Kuan Yu, don't you absorb a little, Yui said suddenly. Oh, let me forget it. This time the soul you have stored in the plan is almost exhausted, so I won't fight with them anymore, Kuan Yu smiled. Hee, Kuan Yu, you really know, Yuya smiled. That expression seemed to know what Kuan Yu had already understood. Kagaya also slowly emerged from the sacred tree. I didn't deliberately conceal you, it's just that your strength is too strong, so strong that it is terrifying, she said lightly. I know, so you don't mention it, I don't say it. I know when I see Sasuke's eyes, my blue 10-star eyes can evolve, Kuan Yu said easily. Kuan Yu, you are really smart enough, Yui said. This is another way to integrate the original will. It consumes less than the body, but it can gain various abilities, but it can't be used all the time. Some Otsutsuki also choose to cultivate their eyes first, Kagaya said. If I'm not mistaken, these abilities are all spatial or related, Kuan Yu said. Yes, these are the same as our forehead eyes, but their own eyes will be more special, Kagaya said. She knew what Kuan Yu had discovered, even if she didn't say it, Kuan Yu would know. If you need it, I can provide you with enough original will, Kagaya said. No, we don't have to waste ours. After that, the Otsutsuki family will deliver them to us, Kuan Yu smiled. If it's not necessary, please don't do this. You can destroy their bodies, but if you completely take away their original will, You really have to go to war with your family, Kagaya said. Oh, you think we will let us go if we confess to them? For the 9 people who have reached the limit of their original will, the ninja world will become the cake in their eyes, Kuan Yu said lightly. It turns out that you never thought of compromise, but it is necessary to delay time temporarily, Yui said. According to estimates, there are at least 10 years left, and I will look at the situation then. I have not been so reckless, Kuan Yu said. Yuya nodded. Kuan Yu had not been dazzled by the power. Everything was in his plan, and he knew exactly what he was going to do. A few days later, Sasuke and the 5 of them were brought back by Kuan Yu. It's just that they look at Kuan Yu's eyes a little weird. At that time, they were beaten badly, and they wanted to cooperate with each other before the time for Kuan Yu's activation was over. But until they were knocked out, they didn't see Kuan Yu's end state. They were collectively abused by Kuan Yu with physical skills. Seriously, let's see what I am doing, Kuan Yu's voice awakened them. After these days of rest, their mental state has been restored. Can accept a period of integration. To be honest, this feeling of merging other people's memories is uncomfortable, and it even destroys one's own spirit. But they don't want to give up. This is not just for strength, but also to protect what you want to protect. 5 people sat down one after another, and Kagaya also increased the absorption speed of the soul. If it weren't for the integration problem, she could absorb all the souls in an instant. But this is fine, otherwise the natural energy is drawn too quickly, and heaven and earth anomalies will appear. Even catastrophe. Time passed slowly, and Sasuke and the others went to rest once or twice. And the speed of absorption is getting faster and faster, and their expressions are getting more and more relaxed. After going through the initial stage, their original will accumulates to a certain extent, and those memories will not have a great impact on them. And the outside world. The sacred tree has expanded a lot, and those who are still here are quite aware of how much the sacred tree has expanded. Especially recently, the speed of expansion is getting faster and faster. Originally, the sacred tree was not small, but now it has become even larger, with branches and leaves extending directly to the sky, with no end in sight. The area covered by branches and leaves is constantly expanding, covering a huge area, which is estimated to be comparable to the territory of a small country. When the sun shines on the sacred tree, its leaves are dark green, and the light in the area covered by it is slightly dim. But there is still a certain amount of sunlight, and the leaves are not too dense, completely covering the sunlight. From space, this sacred tree is also clearly visible. The branches and leaves have extended to very high places, much higher than the highest mountain. The absorption is still continuing, and the sacred tree is constantly expanding as it has not yet reached its limit. Now Kagaya is already absorbing the energy of the planet. Relying on natural energy alone can no longer sustain the sacred tree to absorb souls like this, but the speed is not fast. Although the sacred tree looks very large on the surface, its root system is actually even bigger. You can even extend your power through trees. Therefore, it did not cause a serious lack of planetary energy in a place, which would directly affect the environment in this area. Another period of time passed. Hai had already absorbed them, and he was watching Sasuke and the 5 of them. In terms of performance, Neji and Itachi should be the first to complete, followed by Sasuke and Naruto. Sharon is slightly worse than them, which is why Sharon has not experienced much. What he admired most was Neji and Itachi. The initial talents of these 2 weren't very strong, but after Kuan Yu's training, they actually showed a super speed of progress. Especially for Neji. Kuan Yu had been preparing for Neji to take over the Sky Council a long time ago, and he also discovered his potential. Even Yu Yi had to admire Kuan Yu's vision. After Neji's original will reaches its limit, he has been familiar with it for a period of time. Apart from Kuan Yu and his mother, Neji is definitely the most powerful combat power. Even in the future, like Kuan Yu, it is not impossible to surpass his mother. Neji's physical skills are also quite strong, only weaker than Kuan Yu's existence. Even Sharon is somewhat inferior. However, these are young people, and the future is still long. They can grow up, but it is not clear to what extent.